Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Long Distance Stitchers. My name is Megan.
I'm Megan.
And
and,
I'm Amy.
and we're
And
back
I'm
with our special guest. This is our mid-year WIP parade as promised. We were going to do another special guest for our mid-year WIP parade. So yeah, it's a little
I'm
later
so
than
happy to be back.
yeah.
The
So
view
excited to see you.
count on our epic, extended length edition whip parade is the only Flosstube that has a higher view count is Flosstube number 1. And that's just, people just search Flosstube number 1, right? And watch them.
Mhm.
I guess most people that watch ours don't
Love
stick
you.
around. It's okay.
Well, they should.
The good people are here. So like people are all about Amy. They
Yeah.
love
Oh,
seeing you. They
well,
love
that's
seeing
very nice.
and so we're very excited to be back here for our sort of halfway through the year check-in.
Definitely.
And what a year it's been.
Right?
No
It's been
comment.
it's been a year.
I
But I'm
actually,
so happy to be back with you guys.
yeah, we're very happy to have you back. I actually had to go and check when we released our last one because in my head it was our mid-year last year because I was like, oh, it's
Mm.
been a year. And then I went and I was like, wait, that was December. That was 6 months ago. Why does it feel like that was last year? I don't know.
Because
very
every
Still,
week feels like its own year, at least
yeah.
in my world. I don't know about anybody else's.
same. And looking at my piles, I've done a lot of stitching
Mhm.
in the last 6 months. So
Honestly, I
yeah.
thought I had done worse. Like when I was like, yeah, there's been so many days where I just like haven't stitched or I've been tired or I just haven't felt like doing anything. And then I looked at like the actual progress that I've done and I'm like, no, I'm doing okay.
Hmm.
Doing exactly what I am able to do.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we should get started because this is going to take a while. So we're going to do the same thing that we did last time, which was kind of going around robin, and we'll each show 5 projects. So some of them are going to be whips, some of them are going to be finishes, some of them are going to be new starts. Anything that we've started since our last whip parade, or worked on, or finished since our last whip parade. And Amy's going to kick it off because she actually has more stuff than us this year.
Like I said, I've done a lot of stitching, and for some reason this year, I don't know if it's just the chaos of the year, but I have been in a starting mood and I've just wanted to start everything, and so I have. So I've worked on very few of my whips that you saw last time in the last episode. Some of them I've worked on, a couple of them I've actually finished. But yeah, there's a lot of new starts in here, and that's okay with me, right? You stitch what you want to stitch, and
Absolutely. Yeah,
they're not gonna grow old.
I'm gonna pin us as we go around so people can see the projects a little bit better. So
Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna go through my the things that I finished for this year so far. I had a big birthday in January, a really big birthday that starts with a 5 and ends with an O. And so my goal for this year was to have 50 finishes because I thought that would be kind of a cool goal for my 29 plus years on the planet. And so far, I'm doing pretty good. I've got 30 finishes so far of the year. So I'm going to go through these. The first one, actually, I don't have with me because it was a gift. And back in January, a bunch of us decided to do some stitchy kindness for a friend of ours. Whoops, Jessie of Mislaid Pages. So we all stitched Jessie little burbs. Why is it like it's sorry? I can use a device. There we go. So that's the one that I stitched for Jessie. This is from a Leslie Tier pattern. It's just one of the, I think it's her summer black work pattern. And I chose one of the little burbs to stitch for Jessie, and it ended up being pretty small. It's tiny, and I loved it. And if you haven't seen Jessie's video, they did a an unboxing of all of the burps that they got sent, and it was a very cool thing to watch. So go check out Mislaid Pages if you want to see that video, because there was a lot of love in that box from a lot of good people, and deservedly so, because Jessie is a fantastic person. Speaking of Jessie, my next finish was from Jessie's Burb box from 2022,
Yeah.
right?
2023.
First Burb box. This is from, yeah, the first Burb box. This is a pattern from Dee and Kari. Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. This is rebirthed, and it's on a beautiful piece of Jessie dyed fabric, of course, using all of the dinky dyes that came in the box. I added a few little beads on there. Dee is a big fan of French knots, and as much as I have tried, French knots and me, we just don't get along. So I'm a big fan of stick a bead on it if there's a French knot. So the little birds have eyes that are beads, and then there's some beads up in the corner here. I just pulled some from Stash, and I love this one. I need to get this one framed. I need to get a lot of them framed, but this one especially, because I want it up on my wall. So I love that one.
So pretty. I haven't started that one yet, but I need to. I need to pull it out and do it.
Gorgeous. I have one pattern left from that first box, and that's Michelle's pocketbook peacocks. I have one of the peacocks done. I haven't worked on it yet, but I want to get it finished before the next Burp box comes out, which, again, if you haven't gotten your Burp box for 2025, go to Jessie's page, mislaidpages.com, because they still have some available, and I'm just going to do all of the plugging.
Yeah, and the designer lineup this year.
Yeah, it's pretty
so
great.
fantastic.
Perfect.
I mean,
I'm so excited.
And so we've been getting Jessie's own fabric, but this time they are working with another dyer who is also local to them, and so like switching it up, and so you get a different experience.
Yeah, and I've never, was it Lap and Loops?
Yeah,
I think, and I've never had fabric from them before, so I'm excited to try a new fabric dyer, and yeah, it's going to be very exciting. So, but I want to get more of the burbs done in the boxes that I already have before that one comes. But even if I don't, that's okay. That's okay, right? The next finish that I had was Quirky Quaker Orca with the little ships around it, which I think, didn't Deanna do this one as a charity pattern for
fundraiser,
like a fundraiser for cleaning oceans and things. And I actually took this one, my sister and my father and I went on our very first cruise in January for my big birthday, and I took this one. I thought it would be highly appropriate, and so it got finished at sea.
I love it.
Yeah, so I had a good time stitching this at sea. I took a whole lot of projects with me, and the only ones that I worked on were Quirky Quaker Orca, and also the next finish that I had, which was Quirky Quaker Mothman. I finished this one on the cruise ship as well, and he's done in black etoile, so I don't know if you can tell, but he's a sparkly Mothman, and I love him very, very much.
So good.
I'm doing Quirky Quaker Whip Go this year, which is helping me get to the 50 finishes, because they're really great little, just bust them out in a day or two. And so I'm having a lot of fun doing all the Quirky Quakers this year. So you're going to see a lot of Quirky Quakers, including my next finish, which was Quirky Quaker Bear.
I love him.
I love that.
I love the little blueberry border around him. It's, yeah, this was probably one of my favorite ones to do. We got to see a bear in person in the wild. I mean, I've seen him in zoos before, but it's always something different when you see an animal in the wild in their like natural habitat. My dad and sister and I went on a trip to the western part of the United States, and we hit like 6 different national parks, including Yosemite. And the whole time we were there, we kept saying, "Oh, I want to see a bear. I want to see a bear." And we finally saw one as we were driving out of the park on our very last day. I was driving and I looked over and there was a tree, and right next to this tree was this big brown fuzzy boulder. And I'm like, "Oh, that's an interesting rock. That's not a," and I slammed on the brakes. And it was literally about like, I don't know, 10 feet from the car. And so just kind of ambled off down the hill and got a quick picture of it. But yeah, so I enjoyed doing the bear, and that brought back a lot of happy memories of that trip. So, and those are my first 5 finishes of 2024.
Yay. Megan,
Is it me? Okay.
your turn.
Okay, so these are going to be in no particular order. This first one is Mouse's Beach Outing from Tiny Modernist, which I started on my way to Florida because Kim, crafty teacher DIY, and I were going to do this as a like roommate cruise project on the Flosstube at Sea cruise, and she finished hers, and I got this far. So I started this on January 11th, and I worked on it a little bit when we were on the ship, and I worked on it a little bit on my way home. And I'm using this package of this is German DMC floss that I got when I was in Germany, and it came in just like a kit, like all these colors, and I wanted to use them all together in something, so I'm sort of just like subbing out the colors as I see fit. And this is just like a scrap of 14 count data. So yeah, I should really finish this. It will not take me very long. I'll be saying that a lot.
Yep. Yep.
And also in this same little bag is another, these are sort of my like travel projects because they're like paper charts that I can take around with me. And this is We Still Go On. This was from Spring Fling last year. And I was gifted this chart from Steph at Pocket Roddy, and I was gifted this fabric from Michelle and B, so that I could join in on the project. And I started working on it on May 7th when we were at when we were leaving Stitch North, and everyone was going to get tattoos except me. But Megan was my ride, so I had to come. And I started working on this. And then I worked on it a little bit more when we were in New York, and I probably could have finished it right then and there, but for some reason, there's still a little bit left down here. But yeah, so this is Brin and Needle fabric that Michelle bought at Stitch North, and I have some, and Megan has some. And then this is the called for Brin and Needle floss. Very nice.
Looks so good on that fabric.
Yeah,
it
was
really
an
does.
excellent choice. So glad people make decisions for me. Yeah, this I could probably finish like today. Will I do that? No.
Overrated.
Overrated. I'm trying to keep things organized because I'm weird like that. Okay. And then next I have, this was also a Stitch North start from last year. And it is called Carolyn's Balloons. And it is by Jan Hicks. And it looks like this. And I was just buying random stuff when I was at Stitch North 2024. And I was sort of like thinking about like projects that I could start with all the fabric and floss that I was buying. And I realized I had pretty good color conversion for this one. So this is like silky and like braided needle and like random flosses, and this is a piece of, I think this is 18 count. This is a Evertote fabric. And I worked on this a little bit this year. I got this whole balloon done. I think it was a draw. I think it was a WIP draw. And I got this full one, basically.
I really like that purple. It's a good purple.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sulky purple. It's really
Okay. Okay. So I probably own it, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's this one. Probably help. It's like a royal purple. So. And then when I was at on the cruise with Jan Hicks, she gave us a coupon to her shop, and so I also got the summer balloons from her. When will I start them?
When you're done your autumn balloons, or before.
Or for several years. So that's 3. Okay, so this one is Pirate Quaker. This is Michelle Bendy. And she released this as part of the Pirate Box with Starlight Stitchery, and then released it herself. And I ordered it from Kimet Designs, and I got the Hearts for Pam Sulky, or not, Cottage Garden Threads thread pack, which has 4 of the 5 colors that you need for this. And then the last one was the white, which I had the sulky white that went with it. So I'm basically doing 2 of the colors. And I worked on this. I started this before Stitch North this year. And then I worked on it at Stitch North. And I did that little rat, basically, all in one afternoon.
I love
and this
that.
is a piece. This is 14 count coffee stain from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop, which she sent to me as a surprise. And I was like, I know exactly what I will do with this. And then my last one for now is Big Hearted Tiny Town. And it is heart in hand. And I really want to start a million other tiny towns. So I'm trying to push myself to finish this one. And when you see it, you'll think, yeah, you can finish that right now if you want to. I literally, all I have left is the trees. There's a tree here and there's a tree here. And I think there's like a few other little, there's like beads. There's like a couple beads. And then I'm pretty sure it's done. So yeah. I don't know why. I like to take things right up to the edge and then I put them away for like 6 months.
Well, you're like preserving the gratification, right?
Yeah. I like working on it. It's
exactly. Those are so
finish
cute.
it,
I love that whole series.
Yeah.
So this is most of the DMCs, and then I subbed out a few that I didn't have at the time when I was kitting this up. And this is a 28 count vintage beige fabric. So yeah, there she is.
So cute.
And I've had this. This one I started quite a while ago. This is one of my older WIPs. This was 2022 when I started this one. So I really should finish it. Famous last words. But yeah, that's my 5 for now.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay. Make myself big. All right. I have my WIPs organized from their order of their start date. So you'll have older ones, and then things that have been finished, and then things that have been started, and then a lot of things that have been started and finished this year, because that's what I'm doing these days. But so first up, I have my Angel of Love. I'm still getting used to where my camera is since I moved everything. I want to go the other way. So this is a lavender and lace pattern. Here's the picture. Her dress is like 50% beads, 30% Kreinik type situation. She's beautiful. So I've gotten a lot done on her. Like I didn't even have 2 wings at the start of the year because Helen and I are roughly once a month spending 2 or 3 hours on Zoom together working on our Angels of Love. And so I am progressing pretty quick. I think I've decided that I'm going to put her on an 11 by 17 Q snap and start adding the beads as I go. Because thinking about having to go back and put in all the beads at the end, feeling a little daunting at this point. So I might do it. Plus, I really want to get her halo in there because it's just so pretty, and she'll look more complete, I think, with it. So
I love how you're doing it from the top and Helen's doing it from the bottom. So you
put me in
every
the
time I
middle,
watch
and
one
then
of
we'll
you,
have
it's
a
like
whole project.
right, exactly. It's good to see both sides, both ends.
And then the next up, I have 2 finishes. One was a start in 2020. Let me see, 2022, and one was a start and finish just this month. I when we decided our date, I was like, oh, I'm gonna pull out a bunch of old projects and have some finishes to show. I have one from that pile that I pulled out. Didn't even touch the other ones. And so these are 2 of the birds in Lindy Stitch's Bird Crush Club. I clearly should have pulled out my iron because these are way more wrinkly than I expected them to be. This is the black-throated gray warbler. So I had like a bit of the branches and I think one color in the bird's head when I pulled it out. So I finished that, and it took me like, 1 weekend day of stitching and a couple like not weekend days where I only stitched for like, an hour maybe to finish. And then I immediately started and finished the American Goldfinch. This is on a 36 count Cosmo fabric that when I ordered it, I didn't realize isn't meant for cross stitching. So it's taller than it is wider the way I have it oriented. So my birds are going to be a little bit taller than anticipated, but that's fine. I'm going to put them in a journal and having them be like a little bit longer, right? Like instead of being the same size all around will actually be helpful. But yeah, I'm stitching these with all the DMCs, and then each of the birds has a threadworks associated with it. So in this one, it's this bright yellow, and in this one, it's actually the gray that was used for the branches. And so, yeah, I'm going to work on the American Abo set as my next one. Look at those tall burbs. And I'm not putting the words in the stitching, mostly because I hate stitching words, but because I'm going to put them in a journal, I can put the labels in, and each bird came with like an information card and some stickers, so I'll put it all together when I finish them. Next up is Blackbird by Blackbird Designs. This is one of their Beatles inspired magical mystery tour patterns. This is not a very big pattern, and this is not a lot of stitching. I just had some of the squares, I believe, maybe a bit of leaf, but so I've just only worked on it one day. Pulled it out. It looks good. My light is not necessarily great. You can't tell. I'm using like a mist dye of Roxy Floss Co. Cousin It. And so there's a bit of blue in the black as well, which I thought was appropriate for a blackbird because they aren't actually black. They are all the colors. But I can't make that show you on this, so I will stop struggling. This is one that I could probably, sit down and do in a day and a half. So Megan, I'm in the same boat as you. Pardon?
It's almost embarrassing when you look at stuff and you're like, I could literally finish that right now. Like
this is the Darwin sampler from Hannah Stitching. I have this hanging behind me at work on a filing cabinet. We've got little hooks on the filing cabinet, and I just hung it from these. It says, but I'm very poorly today and very stupid and hate everybody and everything. And that is from a letter from Charles Darwin to Charles Lyle. And I feel like it encapsulates my work feelings. And so it sits behind me. It looks really nice, but on a Zoom call, nobody can actually read it. So I can be snarky and nobody knows that I hate everybody and everything.
I need to stitch that one really bad and hang it in my office at work too.
The second Darwin sampler, I forget what it is. It's better. This is a 14 count fabric from Kaylee that was labeled mystery, and I have never clarified with her if its name was mystery or if it was a mystery fabric. And then the floss was also dyed by Kaylee. I forget what the color of it is, but I got both of them in a box, a mystery box with floss and fabric in it. And I like the tone on tone, and you will see that revised again shortly. And then my fifth one, so fifth slash sixth, because I'm counting the Bird Crush Club as one project, 12 finishes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's cross stitch me.
Mm-hmm.
And so next up I have the the heart sampler by by Bad Vibes Only. I'm just gonna I've got that is what it will look like when it is done. The pattern is charted in, I think it's 5 colors of DMC. It's beautiful, but I decided to do mine. I am using, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I stopped my video instead of stopping my share. I'm using, this is a fabric from Jody of Steel City Stitchers,
It
Crimson
looks so
Week.
good.
It's so beautiful. And then I have like I think over 10 colors in pinks and reds and whites from Brennan Needle. And so I'm just choosing with my heart what color I put where. I'm not associating them with any particular symbol on the pattern. And this is really fun to stitch, and I should work on it more. So those are my first 5 projects in chronological order based on the date at which I started them, which means we are back over to Amy.
Hey. So I have been participating in Heather Link is my homeboy's ATC swap for this year, which has been really fun. I'd never done ATCs before, and getting to stitch for other people, and like I always forget too when I'm doing the ATC and I send it out, I always forget that I'm getting one as well. So that it always seems like a really cool surprise, and to have somebody stitch something else for you. I mean, we as stitchers, we all know what that means and how much work goes into it. So it's cool. The very first one for this year, the theme was the year you were born. So looking at all of the things from 1974, I had a hard time trying to decide what to do. But one thing that has been big in my life and the life of people that I love is Dungeons and Dragons, which was invented in, or the books came out originally in 1974. So like myself, D&D turned 50 this year. So I did a little dragon, and I can't remember, I can't remember who I got this pattern from. This is why I don't have a floss tube, everybody. I would be a bad floss tuber. But I did find it on Etsy. And it was part of a pattern. So I just took one of the little dragons out and made it a little ATC for my partner. So yeah, I loved that one.
So good.
It was fun to do. And then and that was just on kind of a piece of scrap fabric that I had in my stash. And then the next one that I finished was Quirky Quaker Owl, and this is one of Deanna's older ones, and I'd had it for a very long time and needed to stitch it, and it came up on my WIP Go, so I stitched it on a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric. And a lot of times for the Quirky Quakers, I'll use, I have a huge stash of Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers floss, because I was in her Floss of the Month Club for about 2 years, and I have it all not packed away, but it's all in a little tub, and I don't pull it out often enough. So when I'm kitting up Quirky Quakers, I try to go through there and at least use those flosses for that. So those are all Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers flosses on Quirky Quaker Owl. Love him.
So cute.
Love him a lot. And then the next thing I finished was in March of this year, and I had gotten the and again, going to praise on Jesse's Bird Box for 2023. And this pattern came from Michelle Bendy. And this is again on a piece of Jesse fabric using the dinky dyes that came in the box. This is Worthy Bird. And it says, I am the measure of my worth, and I say I am worthy. And going through a bit of a tough time at work right now. And so I felt like it was important to have this as a reminder. So I framed it. I got this frame at a local Goodwill here, fit perfectly. And it hangs above my desk at work where I see it every single day. And it's a great reminder because we are all worthy, and don't let anyone tell you you're not, ever. So I love this piece a lot. I love the colors in it. It's just so unique, and I mean, it's Michelle. Michelle's a great designer, so can't beat it. But I love that. I had to remember. I'm really glad I wrote myself a sticky note the other day when I was at work. Worthy Bird to grab it before I left work so that I could show it off for everybody. So, and then I did Quirky Quaker Llama, and I tried to make him a little bit of a party llama. I had this beautiful floss again from Fiberlicious that around the border there. And I love that floss. I need to find something else to do with it too, because it's just like rainbow, but in a different kind of rainbow, and I love it. I love it. So
Yeah, it's jewel
and again,
tone.
it's on an it's on another Be Stitch Me. Again, I was in their Fabric of the Month for a long time, and 18 count Ada was what I got, and so I use a lot of those for Quirky Quakers too, which I thought the llama looked good on this. I can't remember the name of this fabric. Again, I'm bad at keeping track of things. So bad at it.
Amy, the people who watch us are okay with that because Megan and I forget those details half the time.
Okay.
So it's all good.
Every single time.
If people desperately want to know, they will ask in the comments and we will.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And a lot of this I do have on my Instagram. And I try as hard as I can to put, attribute the fabric and the flosses and stuff to whoever it is. And I'm getting a really weird, I'm sitting in front of a window and it's like the sun is coming in perfectly. So
All good.
it's that time of day. It's that time of day. My next finish was a big one. And it was from Yalda to Nauruz. If I get back, it'll get the whole thing
That's
right
so
between the
gorgeous.
little thingies from the window. I do know this is on a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric in Cardinal. And I used two different sulky flosses. I love sulky on 18 count. It's like my favorite. And I know Miriam is a big fan of sulkies as well. So I always feel good using sulkies on her patterns. But I love the way this one turned out. I'm thinking about, there's these two little boxes on the side of the border here and over here. And I'm thinking seriously about putting my initials and the year in those. So it's a finish, but I might finish it at some point if I decide to put my initials and the year in. But I love this piece. I love how the colors look on this fabric, and yeah, I'm always inspired by Miriam's choice of colors, and so I like to try and play with color as much as I can on her pieces. So
Turned out
yeah.
so good. And now I'm like,
I
want to work on mine.
right, yeah, I did really good. This is probably the first pattern that I actually kept up with, or the first stitch along that I actually kept up with and finished it right, the week that she released the last border. So I was quite pleased with myself because I fall off of stitch alongs all the time, as you will see when we get to my WIPs. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that one. I also want to get this one framed and up on the wall as soon as possible. So those are my next 5 WIP finishes.
Awesome. We'll pop over to Megan for more of hers.
All right, so this next one was also a Stitch North start last year. This was 2023, and it is Beverly Glen sampler from D's 20 Stitches. So there's the beautiful model stitched by Megan, and this is
Mhm.
my will start. So I started in this corner and I had just like this little trillium done, and then I worked on it as a part of a WIP Go call this year, and I got the rest of this done. And this cow is so
Oh,
cute.
so good.
And then I did my initials down here. There's it was supposed to be 3 initials, but I don't really use my middle name, and I didn't. There wasn't really enough room for 2 M's, so I just sort of
You do you.
recharted it. And yeah, this is the called for Leo and not Roxy, not Leo, Roxy floss pack that I ordered along with, or no, I don't think I ordered it. I think I just went and grabbed it when we were at Stitch North because they had them ready to go. And then this is also Roxy fabric, which I think is 32 count, but I can't find the tag that it came with, and it feels really small, so it might be 36. But I don't think I would have bought 36 count. So
Be a shrunken 32,
right,
right?
it just
A
Mhm.
34.
right, yeah, like it just kind of feels a little smaller than 32, but who knows? All right, and then next is also one of my older WIPs. So this is a fruit sampler by Diana Waters. And this was a kit that I bought and started in 2021. And I all I have left to do is the 3 bottom fruits. And then there's the word fruits, and then there's some beads that are gonna go in there as well. Um, but yeah. I want to finish this. So it comes with all the stuff to finish it as like a little like wall hanging. And I want to put it up in my kitchen over my fruit bowl. I've wanted to do that for years, and yet here we are. So
When it comes up on WIP Go, you've been doing 2 fruits, right?
yeah,
So if you
Mhm.
don't finish it this year, next year, your WIP Go goal should be to finish it.
just finish it.
Mhm.
Just get it done.
Well, and it also so it came up on WhipGo, and then there was a pick a whip prompt this year that was like stitching something with fruit. So I've actually worked on this twice already.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so next is this was my first start of the year. I started this on January 1st, and it is No Time Like the Present from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. Look how nice that is. And this is what I have. So I'm stitching mine on 18 count. It's called Silver Moon. And I'm using 2 different silky colors, like a maroon and a blue. Um, I think I've stitched on this twice this year, and I have not gotten very far.
It's an ambitious undertaking, and
Mhm.
one for next year is also an ambitious undertaking. And Jacob needs to
Right.
understand that we need time to stitch other things.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
he can't keep doing this to us. But yeah,
stopped.
Mm.
Yeah, they're big. They're big boys. So that's 3. Okay, so next, this is also from D's 20 Stitches, and this is Sailor's Delight, which is a trans merman
He's so handsome.
and
Mhm.
plastic. Um, I'm stitching mine on 28 count, Fangirl Fibers fabric called Sally's Dream, and it's beautiful. And I'm using the called for DMC, and then the red is like a not DMC, like a different brand color. Um, and again, I have gotten pretty far on this. I still have to do like the sea, the water down here, and then the birds. And then there's like some more fill in on the tail.
So good. Though that fabric is perfect.
Fabric is so good, and I'm excited to like when it's done and to like to frame it with like I want to include like as much.
Yeah. A generous border.
Yeah.
So
So good. Yeah. So the fifth one here is gonna be. This is from Miriam Maroon Designs. This one I started at Stitch North this year. This is funky.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this ornament cut pack from Kaylee when I was at Stitch North, and I really wanted to start something kind of small, and I got this, and then this blue floss is from it's a Gentle Arts. It's this eyelid blue that I got from the Kim at Designs booth at Stitch North, and I've started my little peacock. And I'm gonna do the border in a sulky color, which is being borrowed by another project right now. But,
so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a really nice color. And this is like a 22 count, very small piece. So he'll be a tiny little peacock. Yeah.
Great.
That's my next find.
Okay. Make my face big again. Okay. Next on my list is my Namarie tapestry. Do, 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 do. I had big plans for this to be done already. It is not. It's fine. I feel like every time I tell myself I'm gonna be done something, I'm just basically setting myself up for failure. So I'm trying to find the cover mod. Oh, here I see what's going on. Apparently, got multiple things in the same. So this is what it will look like when it is done. So I've just got the bottom panel with the swans and the snack dragons left to do, which is great. And now I have lost my zoom. Sorry. There we go. Back to the pattern. So I'm stitching this on a one-of-a-kind Leo and Roxy floss or fabric using two Leo Roxy flosses, the asparagus and oyster. And then this gold is a Forbidden Fiber company whose name I always forget and never look up before I film. So I've just got the bottom to do. I love it a lot. I have now gone 2 months without doing a fellowship Zoom. Folks, stay tuned. I will be emailing you. It's been a lot around here lately, just a lot. So I do have some dates picked out, so I will follow up. Which then is the motivation and the impetus to get this out and work on it. I counted how many days I've been working on this one. I've only worked on this 9 days this year, and I did like all of this. So really, right, like if I focus, I could probably get it done pretty quick.
It's so good.
I love it so much. It's been a delight to stitch, and I would really like it on my wall, so I should probably look into finishing it. The next one is a finish. This was Uncanny Kari her Major Arcana Stitch Along. So if you are a patron of her on Patreon, she released this with sort of a weekly drop across like half a year basically, I think it was. A different card each week. I love this so much. So she designed it monochromatic, and I had this purple floss that I had used for my Got the Morbs, and I was like, I'm just gonna add a touch of purple. And so I just kept adding a touch of purple, and I think it turned out perfect. If I'm allowed to say that about my own work. The
It is
fabric is a
super pretty.
28 count Brindle needle After the Rain, I think it's called. Um, and I stitched this over one on that, so it's also tiny and cute. Um, yeah, got to do something with that too, so it doesn't just sit in a pile forever. So I have my Yalda to Naru's, so I won't show the cover photo for this because you just saw a finished version. But there it is. I did get my border done, thanks
Yay.
to a lot of stitching, whilst being tattooed, and then some road trip stitching. This is really good for working on in the car. You can see I've left a needle in progress in the project, so I should probably keep working on it. I've just got those 4 bands left to do, and this middle one here, which I had been waiting to sort of figure out what I wanted to do, and I think I've got a plan now. Like Amy, I think I'm gonna note in the boxes on here, initials and year or something. It just seems like too good of an opportunity to pass up, just to put
Yeah, right?
a little
I
finishing
think
touch on
Miriam
there.
left those for us to do that.
Exactly. But yeah, I have loved working on this, and I think it's a little bit like I am not working on it right now because I know it won't take very long to finish, and then I won't have it to work on anymore. Um,
Mm.
so the fabric is Kaylee at the sewing shop, easy breezy lemon squeezy 18 count Ada, and it's perfect. And the flosses are a whole bunch of everything because I am choosing with my heart the only way to do with a Miriam pattern, in my opinion. I also won't show the cover photo for this one because you just saw it from Megan, but I also started No Time Like the Present. I got a little bit further, and it's still on the Q snap, and I should probably decide if I'm going to keep working on it or take it off for now. This is a 20 count color and cotton, and the name is escaping me right now. Sandstone, maybe something like that. It's really nice fabric, and then the floss is it's a brand that no longer exists. It was in my grandmother's stash, and there was enough of these 2 colors for this pattern, and I really like the contrast between them. I think it's turning out really nice. So I did all of January, and then I have some of February, March, and April on here stitched. Clearly, I'm not keeping up with the Sal. I'm not even going to try. I will work on it as I feel I am interested in it, and just keep plugging away, and it will be done when it's done, and it will be beautiful when it is done. But it is a lot of stitches. And I have a lot of things I want to work on. And then my last one to show is something that is no longer in my possession, but will make its way back to me. And it is my second most magnificent Ink Circles Round Robin piece. So I am part of Team Rohan this year with Trina, Rob, and Pam. And so my pattern pick was Reflections of Ireland. This is a quarter of the pattern. It will just look like that, in that Mandela effect. It is a Fortnite fabric. I don't have the name to mind. It doesn't matter. You can't buy it. And the floss is from Hand Dye by Rolanda, one of her big hanks of floss. So that is, Pam has stitched her section, and I believe Trina is working on her section. So it's, probably almost, if not completely, 3/4 of the way done. And then Trina will send it to Rob, and then when Rob's done, I'll get it back completed, which is always exciting. Okay, that was 5 projects, so we will move back over to Amy.
I have more finishes. The first one is I finally did my first Let's Make a Statement piece. I bought them all, but I have only stitched one so far. But The others are definitely in the running to be stitched. I pulled just flosses from the stash, but I did have the called for Brennan needle floss for the words for the text. So I used that for that, and I love the effect of it. It's just perfect for this. So this is Let's Make a Statement number 2. I don't know why I started with number 2, but I just liked it. And so yeah, so again, it's on a piece of Be Stitch Me 18 count Ada, and I love the colors with the blue on this. So I thought it looked really good. Had fun with that.
I love it. I love those patterns. If people
Oh
have
yeah,
quick and
I
fun.
wanna do like a banner like yours and Helen's, and I think those are
Well,
so
it's
cute
Pom
the way
Pom
that they're
Squad.
stitched.
Join
Pom
us.
Pom Squad, I've got to be in the Pom Pom Squad, right?
I've
Speaking
also
of pom poms,
pom poms just for these, and I have not even finished. I finished one, but yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing. It's a good reason to finish them just to be in the Pom Pom Squad.
Yeah.
And because they're good pieces.
People.
They make
People.
great statements. But so the next one I no longer have in my possession, but this is it's called Fright Night Witchy. It's a little witchy kitty. And I stitched this before Stitch North. A few of us who are good friends with Beck, Elaine Stuff on Instagram, who is a fabulous human being, so wonderful, loves cats, and so has a black cat named Princess Zelda. So a bunch of us decided to stitch them some kitty pieces to take to Stitch North and surprise them at Stitch North because it was their first time coming. And so I stitched that one. It is from Stitch with Coffee on Instagram. And I made it into a little pillow for Beck, a little round pillow, which is more difficult than I thought it would be. But it turned out cute and Beck loved it. So that
It
was
turned
fun
out
to
amazing, Amy. I
it
can say that. I
yeah.
saw it in person. It turned out you did a great job.
It was good, and I loved contributing to, making Beck happy and feel welcome at Stitch North, and I
Well, it
think
was
they had a
fun
really
too,
good
right?
time there.
We kept surprising them with another little present.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, totally unexpected, but Beck brought presents for everybody, stitched pieces, and it was just so generous and kind. And
Yeah.
I love Beck. Beck is
Me
Beck
too.
is a wonderful human. Yeah. The next one was another ATC for the next month or the next 2 months, I guess, the theme was space or eclipse because we had the big solar eclipse here in the US. And when I got my partner's name, my partner was Mandy Parker, who I know and love her videos, love her little cat stitches. She has a little I have 2 black cats myself, so black cats hold a dear place in my heart. And so when I found out that my partner was Mandy, I immediately went to Etsy and I searched cat space cross stitch. And I found this group of patterns. Whoops.
Whoa.
Galaxy cats
So
of
cute.
all different shapes and sizes. And it's from a company called Aliton Embroidery on Etsy. It's Aliton Embroidery. And so I stitched for Mandy this piece, and I like to call it Stitches in Space
that's so
in honor of Mandy's cat stitches.
So
It was
good.
so cute. And then I put a little star charm on it for space, and I put some sparkly Krynic thread to represent the stars in the cat. So I loved that piece. It was so cute, so fun to stitch. Those ATCs are just really fun to stitch. Then in April, I finished Quirky Quaker Bat. This was on the next on my WIP Go call. And again, that's using some Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers floss. And this is one that I had for a very long time, and I knew exactly how I wanted to stitch it. I had the floss pulled and I had the fabric pulled, and I had just never gotten around to stitch this one. So I'm glad that it finally came up on a WIP Go call and got stitched up. So that's cute. Again, Be Stitch Me fabric. I'm a Be Stitch Me fan as well. Yeah. And then the next one is also a picture because I no longer have it. It was the small that I stitched for Stitch North. Participated in the smalls exchange. It was the first time I've done a smalls exchange, and I had a really good time doing it. I highly recommend it if you're going to a retreat. This pattern is called Christmas Lace, and it was part of Tracy Horner's Patreon because of one of her free charts that she gave out for Patreon. And I just picked 3 colors of DMC and that I liked. And I'm a purple fan. Purple is a lifestyle. It's my favorite color. Okay. So I was hoping that someone else would enjoy purple as well. And I made it into a little pillow. And then I was like, I think I need more than just a pillow. So I made a little needle case that coordinated with the pillow. And then I thought, well, that's not enough. So I made a little bag to go with it. I think I went overboard. But and I put it in a purple bag because I thought, some people, and I don't understand these people, some people don't like purple. So I thought, okay, I want someone to get it who likes purple, obviously. So I put it in a purple bag. And luckily, the lady that chose it, her name was Darlene, very sweet. She chose it because it had a purple bag and she loved purple. Perfect. So
meant to be.
Right, couldn't have been better. And she loved it. I had a good time stitching it. Definitely thinking about what I'm going to stitch for my next retreat. Have another retreat in October here in Oklahoma. So I'm going to do a smalls exchange for that. And yeah, that's another one where it's like, no matter what it is, like you can appreciate it because you know what it took to go into that project and the craftsmanship in it, and it's always cool to see what other people choose to stitch for those. So yeah, definitely had a good time with that. But those are my next 5.
I love a smalls exchange.
Mm-hmm.
You got a really good one this year.
I did. I got the best one, in my opinion.
Right? Yeah, you did. You got a really good one.
All right. My next one this is Summer Quaker by Leela Studios. Sorry for the ring light flare. I started this in July of 2023, and I worked on it a little bit this year. I think there was like a WIP Go call, and then I think I worked on it on one of Michelle's Quaker Zooms. Yeah, I did some good work on this. I did this full burn.
Good progress, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna try to move this way so that I can basically do everything but this box, and then do the box last.
Mm.
But yeah, I love the colors on this. This is all just the called for DMC, and this is 18 count Winter's Dream from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop, and it's
so good.
I saw somebody working on this at the Flosstube at Sea cruise, and theirs was on like more of like a beige fabric, and because it was so different, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, what project is that? And then she was like, oh, it's Summer Creeper, and I was like, literally working.
Your fabric and floss choices make a big difference.
It just looks so.
It really does, yeah.
It's like,
wow,
it looks
very
so
different
good.
project. Mm-hmm. I started that for my birthday last year, as y'all know. Have I touched it again? Absolutely not.
All right, and my next one here, this is also a Marumi Designs. Gosh, I have so many WIPs from her. It's like she's a genius. So
I
this
love
is
this one.
Kaleidoscope. This was her very first magazine pattern. And I started this as part of a pick a whip for this year, which was stitch a project from a magazine. And so I started that one in May of this year, and this is as far as I got. I worked on this for a couple of days. It's really nice. This is an 18 count from Roxy Floss. I don't think it has a name. I don't think they have names. And then this is, so it was all stitched, the model is stitched in etoile. I didn't have all the etoiles for this. So this is just normal DMC black. And then these are some, I think these are Brennan needles and Roxy flosses, just random similar colors. And then I do have the etoile ecru. So I'm going to use that. So it'll still be a little bit sparkly. And then also on this piece of fabric is one of my finishes from this year. So this was Quirky Quaker Lovebirds, which I started and finished in February because I'm doing like prompts. So each month it's just like something, whatever, and it's like part of a theme or whatever. So the one for February was seasonal. So I decided to use the Valentine's one. And this is the February floss pack from Brennan Needle. So it's these 3 colors. And I think it turned out so good.
And maybe, hopefully, they'll, once they're settled into their new routine, restart Floss of the Month. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Cheryl, I know you want that.
I really miss the floss of the month.
Oh,
Got some good flosses.
I need to get in on that.
Yeah. Yeah. They also, the model that they were doing, it wasn't like a subscription. So you just ordered every month. So if there was a month that you weren't able to participate, it's very easy to not, but then you can just order the next month. So.
And then also
nice.
And they had like either 3 or 5. So like one month I did 3, but then I ordered a couple other flosses that I wanted. And then the other month I did 5 because I was like, I don't really have anything else that I need right now.
Oh, nice.
This is Freedom Motif Sampler. This is by Shaded Stitchery. And I've had this kitted up for like a really long time, but I really wanted to finish my Dada Portraits of Paris before I started a new one from her. Spoiler alert, I did finish it. So I started this on June 20th this year. I was going to do it on Juneteenth, but I had some technical issues and I couldn't start. And then I had to restart, so sorry. But anyway, this is where I'm at now. And so I stitched all this kind of dark brown color. I started in the middle with this fruit basket, and then there's like a ribbon, and then there's like a thing there. So it's really pretty, and I love it a lot, and I want to work on it more. She says about everything. And I had to put it in this Kaylee bag that I got.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, like Mary saw me getting this bag, and she was just overcome with jealousy. And I was like, I could give it to you, but I love it too much.
Nice.
Like,
it's a good bag.
It's a good bag. Yeah.
And my last one, you've also seen recently. This is my Namarie tapestry. Mine is also on a one-of-a-kind Roxy fabric. Oh yeah, that one was on Fangirl Fibers 28 count. I forget the name of it. It's like a beige. Yeah, but this one is, I think this is a 20 count. This is pretty small. And I'm using DMC. So this is green, I think one of the 470 ones. And then the gold is, I think, like 3820 or something like that.
That color combination on that fabric looks really good.
Really
yeah,
good.
I like it a lot. So I'm gonna do my snakes and my dragons or whatever in the green. And then I'm debating if I want to add a third color for the words or something. But I have not made as much progress as some people.
I haven't either, don't worry.
That's a-okay.
And
We're just taking the slow road.
I moved this into a new bag because I got this Lord of the Rings bag from Kaylee recently. And then I also have my special needle book, and it has my pin that Kaylee gave me as the zipper pull, but I didn't want it to like get ripped off the bag when it gets shuffled around. So all my Lord of the Rings stuff all together.
So good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Switch us up. Okay, I have a few things that I just have photos for. So, like Amy, I also stitched a burb for Jessie. I decided to stitch, this is Jessie's pattern. So this swan is from Jessie's Spring Promise, which was in their first bird box. And you can buy the pattern on enslavedpages.com now if you want to stitch the whole thing. And then I made it into a pride swan. So a Progress Pride flag inspired colorway. And yeah, and it was nice to think of our great friend Jessie and stitch on that. And then it got popped in the mail and was part of that surprise for Jessie. Which, yeah, as Amy said, go watch the unboxing if you haven't, and you can see all the awesome burbs that got stitched.
So many burbs.
And then my next one was my first ATC of the year. So this is the Year You Were Born theme. And so I am a bit of a space / Carl Sagan nerd. It really has always bugged me that astrophysics has so much math in it because I don't like math. Maybe I would have done a different degree had it not been, but this is the Pioneer 10 plaque. And so it was sent into space as a way to tell the aliens how to find us if they came across it. And I love it a lot. So I did sort of a embroidery take on that plaque. And that one that was my first ATC swap, and it went to Heather. So I also knew I had to do something very cool because, right, you get Heather as a partner, you gotta go all out.
Yeah.
And then my next one that I have a picture only is another round robin. So my team from the first Most Magnificent Ink Circles round robin, we decided there was a chat on one of Michelle's live streams about maybe doing Carolyn Manning round robins because they also lend themselves to being broken up into 4. And so we decided to stay as Team 14 Count and do Carolyn Manning round robin. So I picked Pumpkin Patch. So right, like you're gonna get 4 more of these. I should have pulled up the picture, but I didn't for this one. This is a Stony Creek fabric. It's the same fabric that I did my first Most Magnificent Ink Circles round robin on. So I'm using the same fabric, and then it's just all the called for DMCs. And I have found that I am not a full coverage stitcher, but what I am is a Carolyn Manning stitcher. I love these. They are addictive. I've got Danielle's much further down in my WIP pile that I've been working on this week. It is so good, which I'm really pleased about because when I bought that pattern, I bought a bigger one, Persephone, because I love the colors. And so knowing that I like to stitch it means I will pull it out and actually do it. Don't tell Amy because she doesn't want to hear that.
No.
Carolyn Manning has a sale right now, and it's a very good sale. And it goes until sometime into August, so you've got some time. So if you need a Carolyn Manning pattern, now is the time to go.
Not listening.
You need.
Not listening.
And back to regular scheduled programming. Okay. So the next project that I worked on was a finish this year, and this is Piney Owl. So this was a from Christy at Pixel Pixie Design. So she gave this to everybody who did the Natural World Sal last year as sort of a end of the stitch along gift. So I stitched it on the 56 count fabric that I used for my Natural World Sal, and it's a Brennan needle and a hand dye by Rolanda for the floss. I would say that I would not recommend stitching this particular pattern on a 56 count with a DMC because there is a lot of fractional stitches and back stitches in this, but I made it work. You would want a thinner floss if you were going to do it on that small of a count, would be my recommendation. But I love it. And it's in my little bird journal. This is where my birds for the bird club are going to go, and other birds, random
Oh,
assorted.
nice.
Just a book of birds because
Book of birds. Why not?
right?
Mhm.
And my next pattern, so it's again in the order I started them, but this one is it's a year-long work in progress that I am up to date on, is my Stitch for Pride. So this is Dee's 20 Stitches 2024 Stitch for Pride. I have the called for fabric, which is Determination by Jessie at Mislaid Pages. I got it in a 20 count, Ada. Yeah, 20 count. That's what the tag says. And then I was also one of the very fortunate people to get a floss pack from Jazz. So I have been stitching with all the called for flosses. I've made a couple color adjustments. Like I did the Sriracha lid in green, and I put some pink in here. I'm not doing adjustments every month the way some people are, but I love what people are doing with it. So this one will be the one that you haven't seen yet, and it's the Jeffrey Gibson one. And it was fun to stitch. I will say it was fun to stitch. So I am loving this. Dee keeps dropping hints about his plans for next year, and honestly, like,
So excited.
Oh, I'm excited.
if you did not get in either in December or in what
June.
did somebody call it, like the clemency period in June, when Dee sold some more leading up to their top surgery, make sure you get in for 2025 because
It's gonna be so good.
Mhm.
and I mean every single pattern that I've stitched charted by Dee, whether it's their own designs or when they're interpreting Kari's art, has been so well charted and such a delight to stitch. So just if you're not stitching
Absolutely.
these 20 and Uncanny Kari, why not? Just
Mhm.
pick a pattern, go for it. There's something for every taste in there. Yeah, I love them.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 5 projects. So I will pop it back over to Amy.
Hi. Okay, so the next finish I had when I was at Stitch North 2023, I ambitiously picked up a tiny stitching kit from Kaylee and Nati and hadn't done anything with it. So before Stitch North 2024, I had to try it so that I could take it and show them that I tried it. So I stitched a teeny tiny kitty.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, I just love it. This is I took it as a motif off of the Black Vintage sampler from Al Force Embroidery, which I finished a couple years ago. But it's 1/1 on 46 count. I still can't believe I did it. It's just I love it. I want to make it into a little pendant, I think, to wear it all the time so that I can tell people, look at me, I made this. I made it. Look,
As you should.
like I did it.
Absolutely.
I did it. It's bigger, it's smaller than my finger.
Yeah.
It's so cute. I was thrilled to get a picture with both of them at Stitch North this year with my little teeny tiny finish. I don't know that I want to stitch tiny, but this took me forever, and I had to use my magnifying lamp, which is fine. I don't know that I will be stitching a whole lot of things tiny, but I have a huge, just enormous amount of appreciation now for the people that do stitch tiny, because this was hard, y'all. I mean, it was worth it. As you can see, my joy in this tiny little kitty cat, but it was a lot, and I loved it. But yeah, so this may be my only tiny stitch, but maybe not. Never say never, right? Never say never, but I love it. I love it. Um, and then I wanted to finish one thing from Spring Fling 2022 that I hadn't finished before Spring Fling 2024 started. So I also did this one in April, Don't Touch Me, which I also kind of want to hang up in my office at work. I love it. I gave her a little, I don't know if you can see it, a little bead. That's a little beauty mark there in a
Oh,
gold bead above her lip. And I love that. She's just sassy.
mhm.
She's sassy and I love it. This was a fun stitch. I started it on the day of the retreat back in 2022, and I hadn't stitched on it since then.
Mm.
So it needed to be finished. It was small enough,
Yeah, she looks
doable, and
I
she
haven't
looks amazing.
I've
Yeah.
done the Iron Maiden. I haven't done that one. And
She's
I
big,
want that one for my office, so
right? I think I want to finish her as like a little flat fold or like an ornament or something to go with kind of the way that did Dee finish the Iron Maiden with the lacy or did Kari do? I don't know who
I
did
haven't
that,
finished,
but
but yeah.
it was really cool.
I have not finished my Iron Maiden because A, I cannot find a lace that I want, and B, I cannot find the right pink for the back. I think I might
Yeah.
switch and do like a black velvet on the back instead.
Ooh,
A,
that would
because
be
I
cool.
have that already, and B, because I don't think that I'm gonna find a pink that doesn't feel like it clashes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very distinctive pink. So this was all from the box that we got. It's all Brenna needle, the fabric and the floss pack that came with the box. All reds and pinks and I loved it. But yeah, I can see that you would have to have the right pink to go
Yeah,
with it. But I'm definitely seeing lace around this though, for sure.
absolutely.
Like I think that would look, yeah. I'm thinking of things in my head. Shouldn't do that, but yeah. So I loved that piece. It was fun. It was fun to stitch. I think it'll be fun hanging up in my office at work. The next two more Quirky Quakers from Quirky Quaker WIP Go, but I finished both of these at Stitch North. So this is the frog. This is what I worked on like most of Stitch North. And it took me like, I don't know, 3 days to finish it because when you're at a retreat, there's not a whole lot of stitching that goes on. But I worked on it until after the retreat, and then after the official retreat was closed, a bunch of us kind of sat around in the lobby and stitched for a while, and including Deanna. So it was fun to stitch this with her there, and I finished it up right as her mom came to pick her up. So I was like, no, you have to stay and get a picture with me right before you leave. So it was cute, but I love him. This is on a actual Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers fabric. I think it's called Castles in the Air. And I chose like really bright green,
I love that.
kind of make him like a little tree frog. Um,
Yeah, it looks great.
yeah, so I liked him. And then right after I finished that one in the lobby of the hotel at Stitch North, I started Quirky Quicker Bunny because this was the next one that was on my list. This is on Be Stitch Me Garden Party. And again, using DMC and Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers floss. Deanna charted him as a white bunny. I had to make him a black bunny because when I was growing up, we had a little black bunny. Cleverly named Midnight. Of course, we were very inventive. But he was a good bunny. He lived outside. He and our dog were friends. It was fun to watch them like cuddle together on cold mornings. Um, so actually finished this at Stitch North again that evening. We stitched again in the lobby with a bunch of us before, as we were kind of saying goodbye to people as they were packing up to go. So I finished him there at Stitch North too. So good memories of the rabbit and of Stitch North with good friends. So, The next one I finished was a work project. I have Mill Hill kits that I take to work with me because I think they make good stitchy projects just if I have a few minutes over lunch, or if I'm on a webinar or something where I don't have to actively participate, but I can stitch and listen. I work on them, and so this is called Enchanted Moon, and I finished it in June of this year, and I don't know where. I thought I brought it home with me, and I have torn my craft room apart and I can't find it. So it's possible that it's still at work. I hope it's still at work. So for right now, you get a picture of it and not the actual thing because
You find it.
it
It'll
has
show up. It can't
it,
be
it
gone
will. It'll show up. It's got to be at work, right? Or somewhere in this room. But we won't talk about the state of this room. It's somewhere, but I had a lot of fun stitching that. So I love the little Mill Hill kits. I've got another one, a sea turtle that I'm starting. The next time I have a webinar that I can stitch on, I will start the little sea turtle one. But yeah, so that's my next time.
Hey. Switch over to Megan.
I'm also working on From Yalda to Naru's. My progress. This is 18 count perfectly pastel from Kaylee at the sewing shop. And the border is 3 different colors of Brennan needle that I'm treating as one color. And then my bands are different sulkies that I'm just sort of picking and choosing.
So pretty.
Yeah.
I love the colors on that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to go wrong.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, yeah, you could do it all one color. You can mix however you want to mix it up. I'm sort of, I've made my own, so because I want to stitch at least part of every single band because she made alternate bands. So here I've mashed up 3 and 5, so that it'll still only be 12 bands, and I made a whole plan for how I'm going to do that. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun to work on. I would also like to finish this year, but who knows? Things happen when they happen. And I did go ham on this for quite a while because I was like, I think I was still working on like band number 2 at the beginning of this year, and I got a lot of work done on it. So all right, so next, and I've actually saved the picture this time, this is Treasure Island Sal from Owl Forest Embroidery. And it was a year-long Sal last year. I started this in May 2023, and I have not kept up, but I have done quite a bit. So this is where I'm at right now. And now that all the parts have been released, I'm just sort of like going back and forth, going down, instead of like jumping all over the place. So, yeah, this is
So
18 count Rustico, and I'm doing a mix of, so they release like floss packs to go with it of their own over dyed floss. So I have some over dyed flosses that I'm subbing in, and it's like Brennan needle and gentle art and random other stuff. And then I'm also doing DMC for just like the little things that don't really need fancy flosses. Yeah, this is really good. I love the big ship. Those have been the best parts to work on. And I'm really looking forward to starting that long map right in the middle because that's like my favorite part. But I think I'm going to try to stitch some more of the people first because I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 6 more people, 7 more people to stitch. So, which are like, not that they're not fun, but it's not as much fun as
You're gonna use map is your reward for getting through that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or I might like jump around, right? Like I'll do like a person and then I'll start like a little bit of it. And then there's also like there's still like the little octopus to do, which I'm really excited for. And then there's like another little sea creature. Like, yeah, there's still a lot of fun stuff to stitch, but it's a big undertaking. But I just had to start it when I saw it. And then my next one was also not really, I guess it was kind of a style. Like a lot of people started it at the same time. Most of my friends have already finished this one. This is Got the Mords by Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. I did stitch on this a little bit this year, so I have made some progress, and I started my first letter, my first M. And this is a 28 count rosewood. I think it's an even weave. Yeah. And my color is 154. Yeah, 154 from DMC. So I'm just doing it in a bold. I really like it.
It's a good maroon, right? Like it's
a good color. It looks so good on this fabric. Really like it. Yeah. It's not that it like when I do stitch on it, it goes fast. It's just like for some reason I don't stitch on it that much. My next one is this was my birthday start last year. This is Thurza Goes Goth by Hemlock and Rye, Julie. A lot of people are also stitching on this, including Megan.
I am. It will be shown eventually.
This is a 14 count old fashioned roses from Britton Needle. And this is the called for DMC because it's already perfect. And yeah, I started this on my birthday last year, and I didn't work on it that much, and then I did pretty much all of this last month when it got called for WIP
Ugh, the colors are so good.
Colors are so good. She picked the best flosses. That's 4. Yes. So my next one is my oldest surviving WIP, which I'm gonna work on this month because I still need to do 10 hours on something full coverage. So this was a dimensions kit, and it's like I'm calling it 4 seasons. I don't know the actual name, but I'm on the last section, the summer section, and I think with 10 hours I could get pretty close to being done.
Yeah, there's you're close.
There's just a lot of all of the water and all of the sand is like half stitches, so nice. It was pretty quick.
That's pretty.
Yeah, and this one has the most like negative space out of any of the ones. And then I just have to do the words, and then there's some back stitching that I have to do for the top.
Back stitching goes fast though.
Right? Yeah, right. And I had most of it done, but then when I was like folding it up to like work on other sections, it was like kind of like loose, so I just took it out. Yeah. I would really, really love to finish this year. It's been a WIP since 2019. Like I said, it's my oldest WIP. And yeah, I've wanted to hang it up in my kitchen for a while as well. So yeah, that's my next 5.
All right. We will move along. Me. So I have next a quirky Quaker. It is and I cannot pronounce this, the Elwit Stritch.
Mm.
It is a cryptid. This giant bird with antlers, cryptid from like the Germanic region of Europe. This is just a 14 count Ada from random floss cut or fabric cuts. And I do not remember which colors I pulled for this. I just pulled random colors. I took this on a work trip in January and I started and finished it while I was on that trip. Back when I thought I was going to do Quirky Quaker with Go, and all I did was January. But I love it. I have the other cryptids except Mothman stitched, and so I was going to make a pillow with the 4 of them, but now I have 5 and the Mothman makes 6, and I just feel like there's probably going to be more cryptid Quirky Quakers. I can't ask Deanna because she'll just say it's on the list, and
It's on the list.
you know what that means. But yeah, so I love this a lot, this bird. So.
Yeah.
And then I have another photo finish. This is red chickens, which I got when I was a patron of Ink Circles. I don't know that you can get it otherwise. I love it. It's these little red chickens. This was my exchange piece for Stitch North. I stitched it on the fabric is Kaylee, and then this is a variegated Cosmo floss. And I had a little box, and I did a little flat finish and put it on the lid. And I had been concerned that the person who got it didn't like it because I didn't see them at the thing. Nobody posted about it, but I talked about it on the Flosstube, and the person who got it emailed and said that she loved it. She's just not like a social media person.
Oh,
and
Good.
I learned at Stitch North this year that people put like their table number in their card, but I had written the card before I went. So that's a lesson for me, is to at least, like, if I write it before I go, add that once I know where I'm sitting, so that you can connect better. So I was very happy when she reached out and said that she liked the piece, because
I'm so glad.
you put a lot of
It's
effort
really
into
cute.
it, and you may feel a little like, oh, did I not do a good job? But she loved it. Shows me that I should maybe not second guess myself so much. And then I also have another finish that is not here. This was for the Sassy and Snarky Swap by Heather Link Is My Homeboy. And it is a mashup of 2 designs, one from AMK Design, one from Crypto Stitches. They are both on Instagram. And the person that I sent to loved Our Flag Means Death. Our Flag Means Death? That's what it's called? I don't know. The gay pirate show. And so I found this nice pattern of a very snarky saying, and then I got the little dudes to add to it, and it was a lot of fun to stitch, and kind of tempted to make one for myself, but we'll see. So
yeah, it's so
That's cute. I like it.
I like your ribbon inside.
Yeah, the rainbow ribbon inside the tray, and yeah, it was fun to finish that way, and I should do more things like that. And then Michelle Chinook Crafter and I hosted a kitted up swap, which version 2 will be coming imminently. Michelle and I have, at least acknowledged that we need to get going on that, but life's a little hectic for both of us. But we're scheming on how to make it less administrative on our end, so that it is an easier undertaking to put out into the world. But anyways, Kim Crafty Teacher DIYs sent to me, and so she kitted up from my wish list Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs, which is again another one of the Beatles inspired patterns. I have all the patterns now. So I will slowly work on them. And she kitted it up all in Be Stitch Me silk and fabric. I did not grab, I cannot tell you what the name of the fabric is. I didn't grab that. And I made the tiniest start on this in February, and I have not worked on it since. So I need to pull it out and work on it more because Kim's conversion is beautiful. If you want to see, Kim made her own kit with the same floss and fabric, and she has already finished it. So if you want to see what her conversion looks like in the end, so you can go to her Instagram or her Flosstube and see what she did. But yeah, I will work on that at some point. As you can see, I left it with a needle and thread on it still, which I tend to do a lot these days. And then I also have a Let's Make a Statement finish. This is Let's Make a Statement number 4. This was D had some processing to do, and part of that processing was to chart gender affirming care saves lives, which is true. And if you disagree, you can show yourself out. This is Kaylee at the Sewing Shop fabric. I have a few fabrics now that I'm using for these, so I don't know which one this is. But then I've got the DMC, the Britain needle, and I have some hand dye by Rolanda that I have. I've got a kit of my flosses for these, just ready to go whenever Dee puts out another one. And I need to get this done up and added to my banner so that it's hanging out with the rest of them. These lions, so they have the étoile in them, so they sparkle just a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, they look so
good. And another very important statement put out in the world. So that was 5. So we are back over to Amy.
So I know it's going to look like all I ever stitch are Quirky Quakers, but I have several more of them. Quirky Quaker WIP Go is, I'm actually keeping up with that, which I'm proud of myself, because I was going to do an FFO WIP Go, and I think I made it to like March on that, where I was FFOing 2 projects a month. It's okay, because it's okay. So I had a streak where I did like 3 Quirky Quakers like back to back in June. I finished one on the 21st, one on the 22nd, one on the 23rd. So this was the first one, Quirky Quaker Cardinal. I love this one. It's Christmassy without being Christmassy, wintry without being wintry. We always have cardinals here in our backyard. My dad has several bird feeders outside, and there's a male and female cardinal that hang around, and I love seeing them. Yeah, so Quirky Quaker Cardinal.
Beautiful.
And then the next one I did was the freebie at Stitch North weekend 1. I went to weekend 2, but Deanna had some extra kits that were available, so I bought one off of her, and it's Quirky Quaker Lobster. Love this guy. I decided to make mine a 1 in a million blue lobster, just because I felt like he needed to be fancy. And so I used the Brennan needle floss that came with the pattern, which was the kind of the red and then the pinky red and white on the border and the doodads, and then I just made him bright blue with a Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber floss, and I love him. He's very, very cute.
So good.
Lobster.
I suspect we'll be seeing more lobsters in the future.
I think so. Yeah, I like the lobster a lot. And then the next one I did was the octopus.
Hi.
And this is one of the ones that came with the Cottage Garden thread pack that has 2 flosses in this. I can't remember what they call them, but they're 2 flosses in the same card. But I decided to change out the actual color of the lobster, of the octopus. And so I was looking up, excuse me, looking up different types of octopuses on the internet, and I found this Caribbean reef octopus that is exactly these colors. And I had a Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber floss that was exactly that color. So so mine's a Caribbean reef octopus, and I kind of love him a lot.
Perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah. So, and I used the cottage garden threads then again on the border. So love, 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 love that one. The next thing that I finished was another ATC um, for May and June. The theme was We Go Together. And so I wanted to do something kind of out of the box. So I was thinking, like peanut butter and jelly and all the different things, coffee and donuts, which is the one I got. So, so cute. But I wanted to do something kind of out of the box. And I love supporting Stitchy Princess Black on Etsy because she's a Ukrainian designer. And there is still a war going on there as well. And so I was looking at some of her patterns and I found a pattern that has mushrooms and fairies on it. And I thought, yeah, mushrooms and fairies go together. I
Mm,
mean, fairies live in mushroom houses, right? We
mhm.
all know they do. So I bought that pattern and I just picked out a few of the motifs from it and stitched a couple little fairies. The one that got me was this little fairy on a mushroom. I mean, there's, I don't know, literally like maybe 50 or 60 stitches in that, but it's a fairy on a mushroom. Like it, yeah. So I used a little Kreinik on their wings and made them a little, she also had a little mushroom house and I thought it was perfect. So that was my ATC. I finished it one on some, glued down some scrapbook paper that kind of hopefully made them look a little woodlandish. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so that was my latest ATC, which was cute. And then my last quirky quaker for, I think this was a June call was the brown chicken, brown hen. And so I did it on Be Stitch Me's garden party again, like the bunny, and just some random Fiberlicious flosses from my stash. And I love the brown one. I have plans for the white chicken. If you have this pattern, you know that she did the white chicken and the brown chicken kind of, you get both patterns, slightly different borders. So I have plans for that one when it gets called on my WIP Go call. So yeah,
So good.
lots of quirky Quaker finishes, which I need to actually do something with them. Um, and there's a plan for that too, but
We'll get
it's a long-term plan.
very fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Over to Megan.
I have 5 whips left. So,
Oh,
and then I move on to my finishes.
and then the finishes.
So this is the Stitcher's Grimoire. This is by Witchy Stitcher. This was a Patreon pattern that I think you can buy now.
I
And
believe
I'm stitching mine on, this is 20 count Putricide from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop. I love this fabric. I love the pops of neon, the green. I think it looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so far I've just been stitching it all in black. And then it's just gonna be the called for DMC. But yeah, I this got called I think a couple times this year already, and I worked on it because I only had like this tiny little. I think I had like the moon done when I first started it, and then I did all the letters now. My goal was to like finish the ghost on this side as well, but this S took so long.
it's chonky. It's definitely chonky.
Way longer than I was expecting. But yeah, I think it looks so cool. Love
Mm-hmm.
the writing on this. So this one I'll be plugging away at for a while. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm obsessed with this fabric, and I have quite a bit of it that's gonna be
Oh,
left.
that's so good.
I don't know what I'm gonna put on the other side of this, but it's gonna be good. And then my next one is this is kind of an old one too. Been working on this one for a while. This one is Mother Nature from Miriam Marugazan. And this was one of the Earth Day Stitches Collective bundle releases. And I started this in May 2023. And I have worked on this recently because it was one of my WIP Go calls for this month was a monochrome one, so I've been working on this. Yeah, I'm almost done.
So pretty.
Center motif, and then it's just like the 2 strips of border. So, yeah. When I started this, I didn't even have these hands. I had just like the middle kind of stuff. So yeah, I did quite a bit.
So good.
Yeah, she's looking real good. And this is on 18 count Rustico, and this is the sulky that Miriam used in the model. I think it's called
nice.
All the Greens or something like that. I'm debating if I want to do a solid green sulky for the border, just to like mix it up a little.
With a little bit of color interest.
Yeah, I have a lot more sulkies now than I had when I first started it, so like I want to play with them some more. I am not up to date on this next project. This is my Stitch for Brad. This is 18 count. I think it's 18 count. Watercolor Falls by Kaylee at the Sewing Shop. I did not get the called for fabric from Jessie, but my friend Megan has so generously shared her floss pack with me, so I do have the called for flosses. I started January before she sent them to me because I was just too eager. So this is Roxy Floss Co. Cosmo, but then the purple is one of the Jasmine flosses. And then I have also been subbing out colors for all my ones so far. And I don't know if I'll keep doing it. It depends. If I can think of an easy way to sub something in, I will, but I'm not gonna force it if I don't feel like doing it. So this is the one I just finished. This was the May drop. And I did use the red from the sriracha bottle as the flag, because in the picture it was red. And because I oriented my fabric the wrong way, I'm sort of going a little bit rogue with my placement. But I've already measured out the spot for June is going to fit perfectly right here. And then I think I'm going to put July over here. It's kind of like narrow. And I think
we'll just fill that out.
Yeah. We'll see. By the time I start working on that one, August will probably be out. So
I mean, if you watch the most recent D20 Floss, you will be able to see how big August is, because
I saw it's like also like narrow and small. So I'm gonna like kind of measure it and see if I want to do them together or if I want to like start moving down. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm sort of just freeballing it at this point. And then my next 2 are salves that have been woefully ignored, neglected, thrown to the wayside. This is the Deadly Aquarium sal. There are 9 parts of this that have been released. This is the
plus
latest.
The border, right? Like the border.
Oh yeah, right. The border was separate. Okay, yeah. So that's where we're at now for that one. This is where I'm at.
It's more than I have.
I really want to work on this. My WIP Go call for August, which she released early, is fishies.
Oh, There you go.
That was the prompt. Fishies.
Perfect.
Because I have so many fish projects. So this will be my focus project for once I'm caught up. I'm still getting caught up on my July WIP Go things. I mean, it's still July. But yeah, for August, I'm going to get some real progress on this. And now because I have the sections for like the top here, I can
Yeah,
just
you can just go down. You don't have to.
I can just go stitch that stingray like right now. Like as soon as I work my border over.
True.
Yeah. And I can start like going down. But yeah, this is 16 count Neptune's Depth Ada from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop. And I'm using all the called for DMC. Because that's what you do. And then the last one is also a Sal. It is the Beautiful Biome Sal. I have a little bit more progress on this. This is where we're at now with our drops. And there'll be a new one out in a few days. And this is 32 count unnamed green linen from Kaylee at the Sewing Shop. And I'm using a Threadworks for my border, this brown. And then this one is a Cottage Garden. And I'm just sort of doing each band in a different fun floss. And then the border will be that brown color. So, and I'm gonna work on this as well. Yeah, the floss is nice. And I'm gonna work on this as well because one of the Pico whips, I think for July 15th, was something with a bug on it. And there's bugs on the latest drop of this. So that was on my list to work on this month. I'm still working on other WIP Go. I'm trying to do everything in order. I'm just remembering which ones got called, and then I'm just sort of going through rather than having like 5 things that I'm like kind of working on. I like work on one thing and then go to the next.
That's fair.
Those were my last 5 WIPs, and that was everything I've worked on so far this year that is not finished.
Thanks. Okay. So, as I said, we'd see some more tone on tone. Also, for the Kit Up swap, because I did too, because I was feeling extra. Michelle Chinook Crafter kitted up for me. Inordinate Fondness. It was on my list of patterns I already owned. And this is again Hannah Stitching. And so the inspiration for this is there's a quote that is non-attributable. It's been attributed to a few different people. And it's said in different ways, but I added it to the pattern, and it says the creator has an inordinate fondness for stars and beetles, right? Just because the number and variety, right, of beetles. So this pattern is just all these different bugs, Quaker bugs. I love it so much.
That's cool.
And so there's like 5 different flosses in here, all purple toned. Michelle dyed the fabric. She thought she was dyeing me a 14 count. It's an 11 count. So this is a monster, but it's so pretty. So this also hangs behind me at work. And I love looking at it. And I've had a couple, are those beetles? Yes, they are. It's just so pretty.
I love that. That's really cool.
I love it too. And so I've got the second Darwin sampler, and so I'm scheming on, I'm going to do more tone on tone, but in a different color direction. So I'm scheming on that. So stay tuned. When will I do it? I don't know. I finished the Quirky Quaker Ray. This is now available to everybody, but my friend Megan went to Flosstube at Sea, and she gifted me the chart. for the Ray, and so I got to do it a little bit before it was released for public. I was in a hotel room in a different city for this one too. Quirky Quakers are good hotel room projects, FYI. And so I just
Mhm.
had random flosses. So not random flosses, but the light blue and the dark blue are the ones that were kitted up with it. But these fish were also supposed to be in the light blue, but I didn't have quite enough floss to do them. So I just grabbed another floss from what I had with me and did the fish in a slightly different color, and I love it. This fabric was from Megan as well, and I don't it's something.
Canvas plus Meyer.
Okay, there we
Mm.
go.
60.
Yeah, so I love that a lot. It's gonna go in my journal eventually. This is another one that you've already seen because, like Amy, I needed to stitch this right away. Unlike Amy, I have not done anything with it. But this is again Michelle Bendy from the 2024 Burb box. So Jessie will, if not already, I think Jessie's already released the extras, right?
I think so, yes.
I
I
think the
think they're
extras.
on.
So if you want this pattern, it is available through Mislaid Pages, or if it's not yet available, it'll be available there. And then I assume that Michelle will do her Michelle thing at a later
Mm.
point and release it with a different colorway, right? So the Dinky Dye colorway will always be Mislaid Pages exclusive. Um, I love it. The Dinky Dyes are so beautiful.
Mhm.
And like Amy and I clearly stitched in different ways. So our
Mhm.
reads turned out different, but they're both beautiful, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
variegated floss is so fun to work with. So so I've done one burb from each of the burb boxes. So, like
Nice.
Amy, I should probably do a bit more burbing before February 2025 because I did order my box. They are still for sale if you are watching this around the time of the release. I'm not sure when Jessie's stopping sales, if it's the end of July or later, but get on it. If you like burbs, get on it.
Great.
And then you just saw Megan's, and so I'll share mine. The beautiful biomes from Pixel Pixie Designs. I have done April, May, no, May and June, and so I need to do July. I'm stitching this on a 40 count winter wren from Fox and Rabbit, and then I'm using a hand dye by Rolanda Floss of the Month Club in 5 colors. So I took the darkest one, and that's what I'm doing the border and the lines between the bands. And then I'm going to stagger the colors and sort of do an ombre effect with them. So this one is all of one color. This is that color and the next color. Then I'll have just the next color and so on and so forth through it. But I love this. This pattern is smaller than the Natural World one. So by stitching it on a 40 count, it will fit in the same size frame that my 56 count Natural World fit in from last year. So they can be a nice pair to go together, but I did not have to use 56 count again. So
Nice.
and then one more finish. This is from D's 20 Stitches. This was their their Pride Month release last year. But I stitched it this springish. This is Flowers for Sylvia. When I pulled this out, I started stitching it and I think it took me a little less than a week, like 5 or 6 days, and I just stitched the whole thing. So it's in the DSCs. I put some nice chunky beads on here instead of the French knots because there's a lot of French knots in this one.
Mhm.
The fabric is a Kaylee from the Sewing Shop fabric. It's khaki wallpaper. She's got a few colorways that you can get this in, but it's stamped. And so I thought the floral effect of the fabric was nice for this pattern. And then it has a Sylvia Rivera quote, "We are not ashamed of who we are." And so it's a statement about
Mhm.
being queer and not being ashamed. And again, very important statements that Dee puts into their work. And this vase. So this is a lot of stitching, but it is so fun to
Mhm.
stitch that pattern in there that you don't even mind that it's so much stitching. And the flower, like if you have spent any time watching Dee, you know that he loves a fancy flower. So, um, good job on putting that one together, and it was also a joy
Mhm.
to stitch. Okay, that was 5 again, so back over to Amy.
All right. My next finish was a big one. Freedom Motif Sampler, which you saw Megan's work on earlier. So this was my Juneteenth start from last year, 2023. And my plan was originally to finish it on Juneteenth of this year. And when I was at Stitch North, I got to meet Nuri, was very fangirling for her. She's just a lovely person and so humble by watching people stitch her things. And it was just, she was so cool to just sit and talk with for a little bit. And so I took my piece over to show to her and I wanted to get a picture with her. And I told her that my plan was to finish it on Juneteenth of this year. And she said, "Oh, that's a great plan." And there was someone else sitting at the table who said, "Oh, you know what? It would be even better to finish it on July 4th." And Nuri said, "Oh, yeah, that would be a better day to finish it." And I said, "Say less. I'm going to finish it on July 4th." So I finished it on July 4th of this year. Because when the designer says that's a great idea,
You do
you
the
don't question it, right? You don't question it. So I used all of the called for colors, except for the 2 colors in the water. She calls for a variegated specialty floss, and I tried my hand at over dyeing some DMC, just to kind of make it look hopefully a little bit like water. And I'm pretty pleased with the effect. But everything else is the called for floss, and I absolutely love this piece. I think it's just stunning and meaningful, and definitely one that deserves a frame on the wall um, sooner rather than later. So yeah, that was that finish for July 4th. And then the last 2 quirky Quakers that I've worked on and finished. One is the narwhal. I think this was a June Quirky Quaker WIP Go call. And so I finished that. And I worked on this one for Deanna's birthday and finished it on the 5th of July, which is her birthday. So happy belated birthday, Deanna. Yeah, and I love this one.
I love your
I
colors.
used, yeah, I used 2 different, this is another one that came with a thread pack from Cottage Garden, but I decided to kind of go rogue on it, and I used 2 different colors of Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, like a dark blue, and then also a kind of a silvery gray. And I was looking at pictures of narwhals online and um, just kind of tried to mimic what they look like in the wild. With they have kind of a blue top, and then the underbelly is kind of a gray silver. So I did that on that again, Be Stitch Me fabric. No big surprise there. And then on the same fabric, I did my first one for July quick WIP Go was the turtle, and I've had this one kitted up for again a really long time, like 2 years. Had never stitched it, and so glad to have it under my belt. I stitched this on July 20th, which was last Saturday, a week ago. I was coming back from a work conference in San Diego, and I started it at the airport in San Diego, and I literally put the last stitches in as we were circling Oklahoma City to land. And so yeah, it was a good travel stitch. Quirky Quakers, hotel stitching, travel stitching, airport stitching, airplane stitching. They're great. So yeah. So that was the last thing that I actually finished. So now I will start showing you some of my WIPs, including my other Quirky Quaker WIP Go call for July is the jellyfish.
jellyfish.
And for this one, surprisingly, I'm not going rogue. I'm just using the Cottage Garden thread pack that came with it. Again, it's there's two colors in the same floss. So this is a fabric from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and I've used it on several of my Quirky Quakers. I can't remember the name of it, but I love it. It's kind of this like purpley, pinky, creamy color. And this is this is literally all I have left of this fabric. So I can fit maybe 2 more Quirky Quakers on here. But this is all I have so far of jellyfish. Just a beginning, but hopefully it will be done before the end of July if I'm to keep up with WIP Go, which not a big, not a big deal if I can't, but
I feel
loving
like
it so
get that
far.
one done.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be good. And then the other one of the other latest starts that I've had is I started Winter Celebration Small this is Hello from Liz Matthews. And she released this as a freebie for her newsletter subscribers, I believe in November of 2021. And I saw it and instantly wanted to start it. So I started it 3 years later. And I started it for Stephanie at Cross Stitch the Globe, who is one of my fellow Oklahomies. I know you can hate me for that one. But she and her sister Allison have a fantastic Flosstube as well. Their sister banter reminds me a lot of my sister and me. So I love watching them. So she was turning 40 this year and had a Hello 40 birthday sal or B-Day sal, stitching anything from Hello from Liz Matthews. So I thought that's a perfect opportunity for me to start this one. So I got the border done. And I'm also stitching this on with, I just kitted it up from Dinky Dyes. I've got a lot of Dinky Dyes in my stash because I'm a member of the Slade Page's Dinky Dyes Floss of the Month Club. So I thought, well, that's a great opportunity to use some of those that I hardly ever pull out. And it's on a 28 count blush linen from Be Stitch Me. So one of my newest starts, and another one that I probably gonna work on until it's done. Probably not gonna take it out of the Q-snap until it's done, just because it's a small one and a good one to have finished, and I want to make it into a little pillow before Christmas time this year. So, yep,
Very pretty.
yes.
That was 5, right?
Yes, that was 5. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
And I believe that my father just started mowing outside, so if you can hear the lawnmower going, it's summertime.
Probably fine. Zoom does a pretty good job of like taking
Yeah.
out the background noise.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Megan.
So I have a couple finishes that I've already put into my journal. So you just saw Megan's, and this is my Quirky Quaker Ray, which is also on Meyer from Picture This Plus. And I also did my fishies in a different color. This is a Cosmo metallic thread, and then I finished it. This was also the Flosstube because it was like an exclusive pattern for us for a little while. So I stitched that also in the sparkly. That's the word, sparkly floss. And then I just have some mementos from my trip that I journaled with. And then I also have already finished my finish from Stitch North, which was the hedgehog. So I worked on that. This fabric I dyed myself, and this is a Brennan needle. This brown and also this green is a Brennan needle, and then this kind of yellow orange color is Forbidden Fiber Arts, I think, that I got from Michelle at Stitch North. And then I finished it with stuff from me and Megan's trip to New York. And then also this sticker from Elizabeth Ann. And then I also finished this bat, but I did not stitch that bat. That was a gift from Beck, who we were talking about earlier. So yes, that is one of the presents that they gave out. Yeah, that was my few journal finishes that I've done so far. And then I also have a few that I only have pictures of. So this is my ATC swap. Um, this was from the year you were born swap. I was born in 1985, which is the same year that Back to the Future came out. So I found a pattern on Etsy of Marty and the Doc. And then there was also like, they had like the DeLorean and like some other stuff, but I didn't have enough room for all that. So I just found a font and stitched Great Scott across the top. And this is like a 22 count Ada because it was a pretty big pattern, and to make it fit on a playing card, I had to be very yeah. This took me 12 hours.
Oh,
That was a lot of that was a lot of stitching.
And a lot of color changes, right?
And
In
those
that
little
one.
guys, yeah, a lot of like literally like one stitch was in like one color, and I was like,
Oh,
oh
gosh.
gosh.
I love that though. It's so cute.
Yeah, it turned out really cute. And then I also stitched a burb for Jessie. So this was the puffin, which I also worked on when I was on the cruise. And I used that same shiny Cosmo floss, and then there's also a purple one there. And I did, it's like he's wearing a cape of the non-binary flag colors. Um, so yeah,
So cute.
that one turned out really good. And it's with Jessie now. And then I also this year finished my Tetris. So I was supposed to finish this before Christmas, but that did not happen. So I finished it like January 1st or something like that. And I got that sent out. So this was on 11 count Ada, which is what they asked us to stitch on. And I had um, some pearl cotton and then also just like 3 strands of DMC to get the coverage. But yeah, those are some of my finishes.
Awesome.
And then the rest I have a pile here. I was 5.
We'll switch us over. I also had the immense pleasure of stitching some cats for Beck. So I used a pattern I had bought to do a present for a friend last year. You might remember this cat with the yarn. And so there's several cats in that pattern. So I just stitched a band of them, a butterfly and a ball of yarn, and it was fun to stitch, and Beck loved it. Unlike Amy, I did not finish it. I just slapped that fabric on the table for Beck and said, "Here you go."
And they appreciated it just the same.
They did. They loved
That
it.
is so cute. I love that one.
I was very happy with that, how that turned out. And then I participated in the Fine Frog stitching femurs and fungi stitch along, and I am done. But I will be honest, I did not keep up with this stitch along. I hadn't even finished the frames before they started dropping. And so I had like maybe half the frames done. And then I was stuck in a hotel room for a week. And this was one of the projects I had with me. So I just finished it. And so this is on a 20 count Be Stitch Me that I don't believe has a name. It was in the Halloween box last year. And then it's the called for DMCs for the pattern. And I'm going to do the plants and petrichor, and it's going to fit there. And so it has like, it's got more shelves and frames, and it has a window. And so it will just look like there's a very tall wall above the window. And that's my plan.
That's going to be I'm so tempted by those patterns. They're so good.
So good. So
They
good.
are,
And
yeah.
like so much detail through the shading, even in the really small skulls and things. Like, look at like, but they're tiny, and you can tell. And like these pictures, like it's so tiny.
It's really well done.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've already signed up for the plans and petrichor, and then the borders come out pretty quick here, I think, early August to start working on them. Um, for that. I also did the space slash eclipse ATC swap. I found this really cute astronaut in a jar pattern. I saw at least 2 other people did this as well for their swap, so it was a favorite. But it was really cute. It was perfectly sized for piece. This
But
is unnamed black linen from Roxy, and then the DMCs, and then I just had some spacey themed stickers and washi tape that I finished it with on the card and sent it off. What lives at its new home now. I did not sign up for the most recent swap, ATC swap, because I've got things that I need to do. But I will hop back in for the one after that, because the ATCs are really fun to do. You can make it as detailed or not detailed as you want. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying doing those. And then the next thing that I worked on was Rob's contribution to our Ink Circles Round Robin, which is blue morpho, but he has done his own colorway with this beautiful green, black, and white combination. And then this dark linen, I forget the name of it. But this was a lot of fun to stitch. A lot of white stitches, which aren't, right? Like, nobody's a big fan of white stitches, but we got them done. It looks great. And I'm excited to see the full effect of this one when it's finished, because those colors are stunning on there. And then just to, keep on the picture train, I did the animal swap as well, the bigger swap this last round. And so I stitched this adorable fox. And I felt like he fit perfectly in that hoop. So I didn't do anything else with him. I did a hoop finish. He is so just happy and joyous. It got sent off to Sweden. I haven't heard from the person, so hopefully it made it there. I should check the tracking actually. But I was a little late sending it because I was stuck in a hotel room unexpectedly. So it's possible that it's not quite there yet. But he's just so cute. I've stitched
I
this
love
pattern
that little
twice
guy.
now. Pardon?
I love that. It's so cute. Yeah. It's just happy and
I've stitched it twice now. I have friends who have a board game cafe called Fox and Fable. So I stitched it originally
mm,
for them as a little congratulations on your store type present. And yeah, I maybe need to stitch it for myself too, because it is so cute. And I think that was 5 things. I always feel like it is not enough because I don't talk as much about the ones with the pictures. I don't know. That's fine.
yeah.
Back to Amy.
Right. Well, first I will show you my contribution to the Numarie tapestry.
Oh, yeah.
Sal, I've worked on it a little bit. I worked on it at Stitch North a little bit, and then I've worked on it, I think, on one Zoom that we've had. Um, I I want, yeah, I want to get it out more. It's just I mean, it's the problem that everybody has, right? You have too many projects that you want to work on, and you have literally
That's
two
just it.
hands.
That's just it.
Yeah, which is fine. It'll get done at some point, but it's on a one of a kind Roxy Flosco linen, 32 count linen with 2 Roxy Flosco fibers, jaded and then thistle. The purple is called thistle. It's a discontinued, but I bought the last that they had at Stitch North in 2023 when Megan and I kitted it out. So right now I'm working on this border down here. And then I'll come down the other side. I think I want to save the words for last because I'm thinking about doing them in the purple. and I want to make sure that I have enough of it to do all the words. And there's a few doodads down in the very bottom that I want to do in the purple. So because I can't order more of it, I need to kind of make sure that I'm going to have enough to do the words before I commit to doing them in the purple. So I absolutely love this piece. Um, it's yeah, yeah. I mean Jacob, right? Jacob,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob. Love it. Next up, I also have Pirate Quaker that I also started on the way to Stitch North this year, from Michelle, and I worked on it, I think, a little bit on my way back from Stitch North too. So I've got, I don't know, not even half of it, but maybe a third, probably more like a quarter of it done. I have a I have a plan. The plan was for July. That didn't work. So the plan is now for August to stitch on some kind of summer slash beachy slash things that could possibly be door decorations if I ever go on a cruise again,
Oh.
maybe. So I have this pattern that I want to stitch, or that I want to finish, and then a couple of others. So yeah, I will get this back out soon, but I'm loving this. I'm using also the cottage garden threads that I have from the Hearts for Pam thread pack, and then a white, I can't remember what white I'm using, but yeah, so loving that. I really am enjoying working with those cottage garden threads too. I think
They're very,
um
that's very,
they variegate very nicely, and they're very soft to use too, so they feel good to stitch with. So up next, I'm doing the temperature sal from Nuri at Shaded Stitchery. I'm doing the month by month one. So this is 2024, and then I decided to do 1974, my birth year. So we've got a 50-year difference, just to kind of see what the numbers look like the year I was born versus today. So it's complete up through June. I'm doing a pretty good job of keeping up with this one so far. Hoping to maintain that streak, but it doesn't take too long to finish out a month, you know. And I figured I was going to do them like a week at a time, but then I figured a month at a time is better because you use the same thread, you know, for certain days throughout the month, so it's easier just to get the whole month done. That way I don't have to start and stop different colors. But I did realize through doing this that our weather here in Oklahoma is a lot more variable in the winter months. So there's a lot more color changes, you'll notice, in the winter months, whereas in the summer months there's a lot more consistent temperatures, so a lot more blocky stitching, which makes it go a lot quicker. But I guess I never realized that before, so that was kind of a cool thing to figure out. We've already had I don't think we had 100-degree day yet in June, but we got up to 99. So the darkest color you see, the pink, dark pink, was our 98, 99-degree temperatures. We've had 100-degree temperatures already in July, which most people have. So so I'll be interested to do that one once the months come. And these are both for I'm doing both for Oklahoma City. I wasn't born in Oklahoma City, but it's just to have like a consistent space to compare to. The place I was born is about 2 hours north of here. Is a smaller town, and they don't have good data from 50 years ago for weather. So I just decided to do Oklahoma City to
I
compare.
find it really interesting in there, like when you're looking at it, January and February are quite different in the two, right? Like the 7, the 24. But then
Yeah.
March, April, and May are very similar. And then you start to see in June that the temperatures are a lot higher now than they used to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, I distinctly remember as now I'm gonna sound like one of back in my day, but back in my day as a kid, I distinctly remember having 4 individual seasons that lasted for an appropriate length of time. You know, we had winter where we would have snow on the ground for a couple of weeks, and we'd be able to go out and play in the snow and everything, and that just it doesn't happen like that now. And our spring and fall is really those are very short seasons now. We have a few days of what I would consider spring and fall, and then it's either summer or winter. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
climate change is real, everyone. You know, it's real. It's a real thing, and it's something that we should be concerned about for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, so but it's a fun stitch, and I'm glad I decided to do the 50-year time difference just to see, you
Yeah.
know, how
Yeah,
much it's changed just in this area. So yeah. Up next is my Stitch for Pride. I'm also not caught up with July. But we've got tons of days in July left, so it'll get there.
I mean, I
Um,
think I think I did it in 2 days, and it wasn't the only thing I stitched on both those days, right? Like there's
yeah,
a lot of stitches in it, but it goes really quick because of how the pattern is laid out. So I
that's good. And I at least want to start the July portion of it before the end of the month. But mislaid pages, fabric, determination, plus jazz flosses, or knitting nurse Jasmine flosses. Can't go wrong. I am one of those people that did not read the directions, and I did orient it the wrong way. So I think I will have just about like maybe an inch on this side. It's fine. It's fine. Um, it's fine. So yeah, but I'm loving it. I love it. As you all mentioned, I'm excited to see what Dee comes up with for next year because it sounds like it's going to be just as good, if not better. And you can't get much better than this. So it's going to be fantastic. Don't miss out if you have the chance and the means to do so. And then the last start I'll talk about right now is I started Taking Up Space by Nuri Jaded Stitchery. I started this one on Juneteenth since I kind of changed my plans and decided not to finish Freedom Motif Sampler that day. I thought, well, I'm going to have a Nuri start instead. So she released this one, and it was kind of an instant, one of those instant add to cart, buy it, done. I didn't get too much done on it. I stitched on it for maybe a couple of days, but I am loving it so far. It looks so good, the colors together. And this is a piece of linen from, I believe he goes by Nicholas Flamel on Etsy. And I can't remember what his Instagram name is, but he's in Hungary, I think. But his fabrics are really nice. I have this one and one other piece of his fabrics, and this is the first one I've actually stitched on. And it's a 36 count linen, and it's beautiful to stitch on. So yeah, I think his fabrics are quite expensive, but he also offers free shipping from Hungary. So
evens
you
out.
know, either way, it evens out. Yeah. And he does a lot of work. I know he's been doing a lot of work helping, because I think he lives not too far from the Ukrainian border. And he's been doing a lot of work helping take supplies in. And I know at one point he was rescuing a lot of farm animals from there that had been displaced. And so, you know, he's another person that deserves our support and makes nice fabrics too. So there you go. So that's my next 5.
Yay. Over to Megan.
Okay. So I have a few finishes here that are not Quirky Quakers, that were starts from last year. So first up, I have Bloom from Mislaid Pages. They released this on Trans Day of Visibility in 2023. Yes, and I started it then, and then I finished it last month. um, and I used the called for DMCs except for the pink. I didn't have the right pink, so inside the egg is a variegated DMC pink. But then I did the words in a solid pink because I tried to do them in the variegated, but they were like almost impossible to read. Um, yeah, that was good. And then this is a 16 count wine stain from Brennan Beetle. And I only used this tiny little corner of it. So I'll finish this somehow. I think I want to be able to hang this up. So I'm going to finish it as like a flat or ornament or something to hang up. And then I also finished this was sort of like a design that I created out of two different bendy stitchy designs. So the words are from her design that she put in the Earth Day bundle from the Citrus Collective, and then the peacock and this tree is from the freebie that she released at Stitch North last year. And I made, yeah, so it says the earth is worth fighting for. And it's all in special flosses. There's a lot of Cottage Garden. There's a Cosmo. There's Forbidden Fibers in there.
The colors on this are just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a 14 count hand dyed by Millions of Stitches on Etsy. So I went to her like house sale that she did and grabbed some of her, like she was experimenting with dyeing her own fabric, and they're so amazing.
That's beautiful fabric.
So, yeah,
Love it.
I don't know how I'm gonna finish this one either, but you know, problem for another day. And then I also finished. This is also from a Stitchers Collective one. This was the Pride bundle. So this was Witchy Stitchers contribution to that. It says Queer Goth. I love this one. I love these colors. I think it looks so cool. This is a one of a kind 16 count Ada from Roxy Floss. And it's all the call for DMC.
So good.
And then I also finished, this is Happy Eid. This is by Marumi Designs, which she released in 2023 as well. And I just finished it in May this year. And the outside is stitched in a 30 weight sulky, and the inside is stitched in a 12 weight sulky. Because I didn't like stitching with this. It was kind of tricky. But I decided to finish at least the border with it because I had already gotten so far, and then I was going to do the inside motif and something else. This is a 16 count. What's the printed fabrics?
Fabric flare.
Yeah, the fabric flare. Yeah. Blue, just like a blue model one. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I don't know why I gave myself such an insanely huge border, but I think because I do have it, I might put it on like a dowel.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Hanging, because I was like, why do I have so much fabric up here? But it's kind of perfect for folding over and having it to hang up. So
you did it on purpose, is what I'm hearing.
Apparently, I did it on purpose.
Exactly.
Realizing it. And then I definitely have enough room down at the bottom for another Quirky Quaker, I think. So I'll just have to like hem that up. And then my last big finish. Make sure I have it the right way. This is Data Portraits in Paris from our friend Neri at Shaded Stitchery. I'm looking for like a black square frame to put this in because I think that's the only way that it will Like it just needs that like stark like
Mm.
outline, I think. But yeah, this is absolutely stunning. This is all the call for DMC. This is 16 count Rustico Ada. And I started this in February 2023 and I finished it in February 2024. So yeah,
So
I
good.
was very happy when I finally finished this one. And I really want to hang it up as well because I think it's so interesting and everybody like is so drawn to like this style of cross stitching because like it's not the sort of things you normally see and yeah.
Of all the things that I have in my office, that's the one that gets the most comments from people who are coming in for the first
Mm.
time. So
All right, that was 5.
that was 5. Okay. Back to me. Okay. My next finish was a SAF at Stitch North, and it is the Quirky Quaker Lobster. So I also got the kit. I brought this fabric, it's the same one with my Ray because we knew we were getting the lobster, those of us who got it, because it was the weekend one freebie. And so I came prepared with the fabric I wanted to stitch it on. I used, like Amy, the floss that it came with, the lighter one and the darker one as called for on the border and the doodads. And then I also wanted a live lobster. So this is hand dyed by Rolanda silk that I got from Michelle Bendy because she did her lobster in it. And then, it cycled on and this silk has made many a lobster now. But I love this. I stitched it. It took me longer than it should have because I was also talking to people, including Deanna.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, I love it. So I'm gonna put these two together in my journal. They'll hang out together. Um, what when? Who knows? The next time I have a hankering to glue cross stitch into a book. And then I at Stitch North also started Pirate Quaker. And so I do not have as much as Amy and Megan do. I just worked on it a little bit at Stitch North and got most of the wheel in. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And I've got a little quirky Quaker needle minder on there. If you are not a patron of Deanna and you are able to join, if you get the quarterly gift level, she is always doing something new and fun for those. So love it. This is an 18 count picture this plus murky, which I thought was an appropriate colorway for a pirate figure. And again, there is a needle and floss just hanging out there, waiting for me to come back and keep stitching. I'm doing it in the cottage garden threads. I bought the whole pack of threads from Michelle, so I even have the white that is called for. I also have the hearts for Pam, so now I've got 2 of many colors, but the cottage garden threads are so nice to work with that I don't mind because I'm sure I will use them in other things.
Yeah, it's a good palette.
Plus, there was a lot of patterns in that hearts for Pam kit, right? And so having more of colors that are in those patterns is probably not a bad thing.
Yeah, not gonna hurt you.
Have I started anything from this kit? No, but that wasn't the point.
Same.
And then like Amy, I have an office Mill Hill. I packed it up and I brought it home. So I've been working on Turkey Owl. So I started this when Megan and I were in New York City and we were waiting for our bus home because we thought we were young and we are not young and we'll fly next time. The bus also used to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be like $50.
Yeah.
And then it was worth it.
Yeah. But now it is more expensive and the exchange rate and it's not worth it. Anyways, this is where I am at. I am almost done with the floss and then it will be beading time. I do not have a ton of meetings during which I can work on it. So it's been, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes there, just little tinkering away, but it's nice to have. And slowly but surely it'll get done. And then it will probably just live in my office because why bring it home? It's one that becomes a magnet so I can put it on my drawers behind me. Then I had the pleasure of going to the third annual Spring Fling with Dee and Kari, at which we were presented with Cat Quest. Um, and I love this. I love the colors. I love the fabric. I love those little cat nights out on an adventure. It's just so good. So the floss and fabric this year were dyed by Dee and Kari's friend Al. And Al used to be a yarn dyer. And so good experience with dyes and colors. And I should have grabbed all the colors, but the floss are just like they just pop. They're beautiful. And well, I haven't done a ton. I mean, this is a pretty significant, like there's a lot of stitches in that. The floss has been so nice to work with too, right? It's really smooth and soft and pretty. And so the fabric is called Manuscript. And then this is which one is this? Gowan? I think Gowan is the green. But yeah, so nice. And again, I just left it. I at least took the needle off this one. But it's just sitting there waiting for me to come back. Which I will.
I need to start that one really bad.
Yeah.
I'm dying to get into those colors too. They're just delicious.
Absolutely. And then I think, sorry, I lost count. One more. And so this was another recent start stitch through finish. And this is Jack of the Forest by Curio Cabinet Crafts. And Michelle Chinook Crafter shared this on Instagram, and I said, I hate you, and went and bought it immediately. She
It's so good.
is always sharing things.
Yeah.
Either directly or just in her stories that are very unfairly targeted towards my demographic, and it's very rude.
She's a good influencer, bad influencer.
Yeah. Very good at being a bad influence.
Right.
Yeah. So this is on, I forget if it's 18 or 20 count. 18 count Calypso from Kaylee at the sewing shop. I believe Calypso is listed on her website now. It was the gem of the show at Stitch North. Everybody wanted a piece of Calypso. It turns out great on any fabric. And then I did a little bit of conversion. The chart is all in DMC. I took advantage of being at Stitch North in person with the Roxy Floss, and for things that were going to be bigger chunks of stitching, I picked up some like just did a conversion from the DMC into the Roxy Floss. Hannah helped me with it, and Hannah knows her colors, so if I had done it myself, it might not have looked so good, but it's beautiful. I love it. I want to get a like ridiculous ornate frame for it, so I'll need to start hunting.
That's really cool.
Shops
Yeah.
for that. I just everything about this. The mushrooms, the little spider web, the berries, the jackalope. I love it.
It's so good, and it's so good on that fabric too.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And
then look, I have so much more fabric.
Oh yeah.
And I can do other things with still, so perfect. Okay, that was 5 from me, so I'm gonna bop this back over for more from Amy.
So another one you've seen a couple of times, and I've got a hanging thread, well, very long hanging thread. No Time Like the Present from Jacob, this year's Sal. So I was ambitious when I saw it, and I said, yeah, I'm going to stitch that whole thing. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I needed to be a little bit more reasonable about my expectations of myself. So I decided to just stitch the arch at the bottom that has the stag underneath it. Haven't gotten very far on it. And I might, depending on how much fabric I have and what my whims say at the time, I might stretch it out and do like the squirrels and stuff beside it. But for right now, my focus is that arch with the stag. I'm excited. Just 2 colors of DMC, 471, I think, is the green, and then 38 something is the blue. You want to know for sure? You can ask. You can check my Instagram. But I'm loving it. It's a Bee Stitch Me even weave. I think it's Lugana, and it stitches really nice on here. So
Yeah, it looks
I
great.
have not stitched on this but a couple of days. So probably a wise decision on my part not to try and do the whole thing, since yeah, but I love the whole thing. And I may at some point eventually decide to pick out other elements of it. I love the clock face and the things around it. So maybe, I might just on a whim decide to do some more of that if I get a whole lot of extra stitching time. At some point. Another very recent start. This was a July 1st start. Nithya from Daybreak Stitchery and I are hosting a SAL called Monarch Watch SAL. And Nithya approached me about several months ago asking if I wanted to host a SAL with her, all about monarchs. And I said, yeah, because she talks a lot in her Flosstube videos about her garden. And so we got to talking in the comments about our garden here. I live with my father, and he is a huge proponent of planting milkweed for monarch butterflies. Our yard has been designated an official pollinator habitat, and it's on the we have a couple of signs out in our front yard that I need to take some pictures of, but it's on the monarch migration path. They call it the monarch highway. And so monarchs are really, I'm not gonna get all nerdy on you, but they're really cool insects. They're one of the only insect species that actually migrates, and their numbers have been decimated over the last 10 or 12 years, because people have stopped planting milkweed, which is what they need to survive. That's the only thing that monarch caterpillars will eat. And so to bring attention to that, Nithya and I are hosting this SAL. This is one of the patterns that I have chosen, and I think she started this one as well. It's from Silver Creek Samplers, called Wings of Change. I love this because it's got every stage of the monarch life cycle. So on one of these leaves is some just little one stitch of a light color that represents the eggs, which I'm going to do in beads because why not? Then it's got a couple of the caterpillar phases. It's got the chrysalis phase, and then finally, of course, the adult monarch phase as well. So I worked on this for a few days and got quite a bit of progress on it. Gotten most of the leaves done and 2 of the caterpillars, and they look so cute. The design of this is really, really good. I mean, it's really spot on in terms of what the monarch caterpillars actually look like. So the green is a Classic Colorworks that I got here at one of my local, sort of local to me, stitchy shops called Prairie Moon Primitives. I was looking for a nice variegated green, and this one I think is called Green Pasture, and it just worked perfectly for this chart. So I'm going to rechart. The milkweed is done in like pinks and purples, and I'm going to rechart it in like a red and a gold, which is the variety of milkweed that my father grows here. So I said I wasn't going to get all nerdy on it, and then I went and got all nerdy on it. But
We
yeah,
love nerdy.
so
We love
join us on Monarch Watch Sal. It's ongoing, so it'll never stop. Monarchs are important, and they're important part of our habitat, or important part of our ecosystem. So happy to support those along with Nithya. Next, I'm gonna get into the Miriam appreciation part of my my WIPs. First up is a really big, I swear I can use technology, y'all. I know I'm 50 years old, but can't be 50. So this is Offshan sampler. I started this, I think this was my birthday start in like 2000 and I don't remember, 2021, 22, whenever she released it.
2022.
And this was, yeah, she did it's called her wild card B-Day sale. So Miriam and I share a birthday. And so she was doing the wild card B-Day sale for her birthday, where you picked a floss color that you normally like wouldn't use or you didn't know what to do with and used it in a pattern. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that on one of her patterns. So the one that I chose is this. It's a hand dyed by Rolanda that I'm using for all the borders. I love it. It's like pink and purple and green and blue and beautiful. And so then I pulled out kind of solids of those colors to do the rest of the bands with. And every time I get this out, I don't want to stop on it until it's done, but there's quite a bit more stitching left to do on it. So, you know, it gets worked on when I can, but it's stunning. And this is a piece of Jessie fabric, as you probably could recognize from Mislaid Pages. This is Sugarlight, Sugarlight, I think. So yeah, it's beautiful. But so that's the yeah.
Yeah, we all have that.
Yeah, that was great. So that's the first Miriam pattern. And then the second one that I started was the Bivas sampler, which Bivas means bat in Farsi. Farsi. Yeah. And so I started this one when it came out, and this one lives in a Q-snap because I refuse to believe that I'm not going to work on it. So I can't take it out of the Q-snap. I can't take it out. It's done in a couple of colors of Cosmo. I don't know how well it's showing up, but this is on Gorgeous Grape from Be Stitch Me. And I'm doing it in 2 Cosmo colors. So there's a variegated one that Christy from Pixel Pixie Stitch introduced me to, and I love it. And then a solid as well. So again, I'm doing the variegated on the border. And you know how when you get a project in a Q-snap just perfectly, and you can't take it out because like until I fill up this Q-snap area, or I desperately need this Q-snap, it will live in here because I always want to work on this project and I have done very little on it. So, and I have my my bat Quirky Quaker needle minder from Deanna, again as part of her Patreon club, that is perfect for this since it's about bats. So perfect. Okay. And then the third chart from Miriam that I started this year was her Pride sampler called Child of the Rainbow. Miriam and her borders. I don't need to say anything else, right? They're stunning. And while she was stitching this, I was drooling and bought it as soon as she released it. I'm just using DMC on it. I have kind of a standard Pride colorway that I just have hanging up on a ring all by itself, waiting for Pride patterns. And this is a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric. I did her the Pride Star that she released last year. I did it on the same fabric, and I thought the colors looked really good on this kind of blue sky looking fabric. So I thought, why change it? And so, yeah. And again, this one's also in a Q-snap because I don't want to take it out. I want to work on it more. I had planned to work on it a little bit more in June, get a little bit more of it done, but ran out of time. So it's hopefully going to get some work soon, very soon. So yeah. So that is my next 5.
So good. Gotta find my button. There we go.
All the rest of mine are Quirky Quakers. So so I also participated in the Kitted Up swap, and I actually got 2 patterns. My person was very generous to me. She gave me one piece of fabric and two patterns, and one of them was Quirky Quaker raccoon.
Mm.
And she sent me all of the called for gentle arts that went with it. So I stitched this when we all started our swaps at that time. And it was also, it worked out as my call for that month because the prompt was forest animal and raccoons live in the forest. And now I have all of this fabric left to make my other project on.
Love it.
This is, I don't know if it had a name, but it was from Garibaldi's Stitchery or something like that. I can't remember the name. Some fabric dyer I've never seen before, but it was very nice to work with. I think it's like 16 count. And then I also did the Quirky Quaker moose.
Moose.
This
Love
is
the
on
moose.
fabric. Yeah, this is on fabric that I dyed. This is me experimenting with yellow and blue fabric dye, basically. And then I think there's some DMC in there, and there's maybe one. I think the green is Roxy Floss. And the other two are DMC.
So
That fabric is beautiful.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good, eh? I was very happy with how that turned out. And I don't know how I'm gonna finish all of these. Some of them will just be journals, I think, but I haven't decided yet. And then I've also done one of the chickens. So this was supposed to be the white chicken, but I did it as sort of like a golden brown chicken because I looked up chicken colors. And this was, I think it's a variegated DMC for the chicken, and then I did some Brennan needle flosses for the border and the doodads. And this was an 18 count fabric that I also tried to dye different colors, so it shrunk a little bit, and so it's only one strand, so it was very tiny little chicken. And then I did Quirky Quaker pig. And this is on, I think this is one of those printed 18 or 14 count ones from Michaels that you get. And this is all, I think this is Roxy Floss as well. I think I kitted this up at Stitch North, except for the fabric. Because I bought all of the farm animal ones when they were at Stitch North last year, and then I didn't stitch any of them until now. And then I also started and finished this one at Stitch North this year. So this is the Quirky Quaker Christmas tree. The green for the tree is the called for Brennan needle, and then the other two colors are Etoile, like gold and like silver, I guess, white, whatever.
it's so good. I love it on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this red fabric is it's 14 count, and it's called Christmas Red.
Yeah.
Perfect.
From Kim at Designs. I think I'm gonna do my bauble. My bauble is my July WIP Go call, so I think I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then I might do the stocking on something else because the stocking is red.
You should try and find like a really bright Christmas green so that
that would look good, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do it in the diamant because I have the green diamant. So I know, I mean, I'd have to do 2 strands because it's 14 count, but we'll see. I heard someone say that that's not a very good idea, but
I mean, I did 2 strands of diamant, but it was on 32 count, so it might be better on 14.
Oh,
it probably, yeah, because the holes would at least be bigger.
Yeah, it was too much on 32 count.
Yeah, the holes are.
That might be fine.
Yeah. Right. That was my next 5, and I only have 4 left.
Yeah. I somehow miscounted. I'm gonna have Could do 5 and I'll have less than I'll only have 2 left, but that's fine. So I also am working on the Freedom Motif Sampler. I started it on Juneteenth this year, and then I left it on my frame, which is crooked because I'm very bad at putting things in these nerd hoops, but I love them. And then I was gonna work on it when I got back from my trip, and then I was gone longer than expected, and then I just haven't worked on it again. So again, right? Like I've got my needle and my thread, my fuck the Tories needle minder, which success.
Everything's ready to be stitched on.
Yeah. So this fabric is a fiber on a whim hazelwood, and so it's like brown with green tones. I don't know. I like it a lot. The colors look really good on it. I'm doing a mix of DMC and some overdyed flosses. I don't have the called for overdyeds that are in the chart, but I got things that are close, similar. And I will work my way through it. And I'm really excited to work on that again. And maybe it will stay out when I put everything away. Then I had my most recent ATC, which was the We Go Together. So bit nerdy like Amy. And I thought that the perfect thing to go together was a pollinator and a source of pollen. So this is a blue morpho on a cornflower. It's from Punt a Go Petite on Etsy. And she's got a lot of these small patterns that there was like the floss list on this. I'm like, I am never doing something with that many flosses again for an ATC. But look at it. Look at the result.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So pretty.
And I finished this in a hotel room without any supplies. So I went shopping and bought what I needed to get this done. So it could go off in the mail. I'm so happy with this. I think I might stitch it again for myself or look at some of her other patterns. Like they're designed to be like petite point, like the little tiny, like you put it in a pendant or things like that. But it looks really nice on, I think this was a scrap of 32 that I used. So, you know, any size works. And then when I got home, I belatedly joined in on the Stitch Along for D that they started in celebration of their top surgery. And so I started Thurza Goes Goth. I'm stitching this on a 40 count tornado from Fox and Rabbit, which the model is stitched on Murky, but Julie recommends tornado as a great fabric. And apparently I was the first one that she's seen stitching on tornado, and she's very excited. The colors are amazing. The DMC is popping. I worked on this for a few days and then I put it away so that I could do stitching that I need to do. But I will be back to this sooner rather than later. I love it so much. And then I think I gotta take this to visit Megan because the size difference will be astounding between my 40 count and her 14 count.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one.
And then I had a little road trip for work the week before last. We ran down to another campus, tested out our facilities team bought electric, like the F-150 Lightning. So we had to take it and see how it did on the highway. So we had a purpose. We needed to go to the other campus renovations.
Very cool.
But we had a purpose. But so I grabbed this because I had it in my office and I started it. And then it's been living in my backpack. So I've been doing it when like Daniel's driving me to work and stuff. This is the Wild Whimsy Bear from Darlene and Whimsy Design. So this was one of the freebies at Stitch North last year. It was the weekend one. And then Bryn and Needle had extra kits that you could buy when you were at weekend 2. Deanna has redone this pattern. And so the border is different. But you can buy the Wild and Whimsy bear from Deanna if you like it. But this bear with the trees in it is so cute. I haven't done that yet. I've just done the border, so the bear will be next. And the fabric and the floss are both from Brin and Needle. I can't tell you what the floss is. I don't know if the fabric had a name, but it's cute. That little barrel going in there. And then the pattern has Stitch North 2023 on it. I don't know if I'll do that, but I'm definitely gonna put the bear in there. And yeah, I love it. I've got the other one from Stitch North that I finished last year. And I'll probably do something with them together. And then last weekend, Helen and I did our Zoomy call and we started New Fancy Ladies, which you can't tell from looking at this that it's a fancy lady. But I started Moonglow by Nora Corbett, which is this one of her, naked ladies in the garden. Helen is doing a mashup of this and the Floral Dream, I think the other one's called. But I'm just doing Moonglow. I dyed this fabric myself. I showed it on our last Flosstube. So it's got like these nice like undertones to it, which are not showing up very nicely in this light, but I think it will make a lovely nighttime background for this. And I've started on the moon, and it's in Karen Water Lilies. So it's silk and it's stitching up really nicely. So I want to get a little bit more done on this before I put it away, hence it's still being on the frame. If, who knows, but it started. It's pretty, and it'll be fun to work on now or, whenever I finish it. That was 5, so bop us over to Amy.
All right. So another one of my Amy's going to be really ambitious projects is Death by Cross Stitch, Long Dog Samplers. I don't have a cover picture of it, but I'm sure everyone knows what it looks like. I started this on a leap day this year as my Long Dog leap day start. According to plans, I should be doing about 1,000 stitches a month on it if I'm going to finish it by the next leap day. That hasn't happened. Spoiler alert. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm loving it so far. This is a Jessie fabric again. That's just love it. And so I'm just using DMC. I chose 3 colors of a blue and then 3 colors of a purple that I thought looked good together. So they're like a light, medium, dark shades. And I'm just kind of picking and choosing where I want to put each of those. Probably will stick with the blue more than the purple, but just add little pops of color here and there. But so far I have a unicorn done. That's
so good.
One corner, done. Done. So this, long-term projects, but after finishing Pandemic last year, I missed having a long dog on the go. So I started 2. I also started at Stitch North Fish and Chips, which is a smaller one. You're right. It's doable. It's doable completely. Started this one on, this is a 32 count, I think. I think it's a linen from Dying for Cross Stitch. So she does a fabric of the month, but it's one of those that it's not a club, you just buy it if you want it every month. And I think this was her maybe April or February color. And when I saw it, I thought, yeah, I'm going to do Fish and Chips on that. So I'm just doing it in 415, 414. It's a light gray DMC, 2 strands, and loving it so far. Definitely another one that I want to work on more, because I think the only time I've worked on this is at Stitch North. So that's what I got done while I was at Stitch North. So looking forward to pulling this one back out. It is like I said, more reasonable size in terms of a long jog. So hopefully it'll probably be finished before Death by Cross Stitch. Maybe. We'll see. And then I have a bunch of fancy ladies and mermaids. A lot of mermaids. So I did mermaid again, and I was determined to pull out every single one of my mermaid patterns, which there are 7, and at least get a few stitches in on each of them. And I did. I actually accomplished my goal in May. So the first one that I worked on was Tiny Modernist. This is Mermaid Garden, and I love her. She is done on a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric. I can't remember the name of it, but I've gotten over half of her done now. So all of her, and then this whole side is complete. So I just have all of the little fishies and doodads and stuff on this side to get done. I do plan on doing, I think like Siren September is a thing as well that people work on mermaids. So I want to touch all of them again in September, and there's 2 of them that I want to get finished in September, and this is one of those, because there's not too much stitching left to do on her. So I think a couple more stitching sessions should be able to get her done. And I've had since I started her. At Joann's like a couple of years ago, they had these wooden, it's like a wooden seashell kind of plaque thing that you can put on your wall. And so my plan is to finish her on that. I think she'll look super cute on that. And then another one of my mermaids is from Stitchy Princess Black. It's called Underwater World. And she's just really kind of funky, and loved her. So I started her quite a while ago. Didn't get a lot done on her, and then I pulled her back out in May and went ham and got a whole bunch of her done. So she does not have too much left along the bottom. I don't know if I can get her done in September or not, but maybe. We'll see. Another piece of Be Stitch Me. And for this one, I just decided to kind of go crazy, and I chose all silks from my stash and just various colors that I thought looked good together, and their placement is just kind of where I think they look good. So yeah,
Well, it's
loving
working.
her.
Absolutely.
It's working, right? I love her. So she's fun. And then the other one that I definitely want to get finished in September is Kristen, the Arctic Ocean Mermaid, which if you want to see a beautiful finish of this, go check out Jasmine, Knitting Nurse Jazz. She got hers done in May for Mermaid, and it's stunning. So she's complete, and one of her beluga friends is complete. The other one is started, which these belugas are bigger than they look. There's a lot of stitching in that, and a lot of this is Krynic, which is fine. I don't mind stitching with Krynic too much. And this is a Lugana from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and it stitches the Lugana stitches, or the Krynic stitches, really nice on here. So I have this little beluga buddy to do, and then I get to do all the fun beading. She's got a lot of beading on her. There's a lot of empty space on her tail, and it's all gonna be beads. So she's gonna be very sparkly, very beautiful. But she's definitely one of the other ones that I'm gonna finish. I'm saying it here on camera. I'm gonna finish this one in September. So
I believe in you.
I'm excited. I love her.
I love her so much.
Oh, she's just
really nice.
Yeah, she's stunning. So yeah. So that's the beginning of my mermaids. You'll see some more next time you see me.
Okay, Megan. Last go for you, right?
I'm down to my last 4 Quirky Quakers. So in March, I stitched Quirky Quaker Flamingo. and this is Brenda Needle and Roxy Floss, and the pink is actually called Flamingo.
Oh, perfect.
And then at Stitch North, at Stitch North I got the kit for the lobster, and I stitched the lobster, and I also used the silk that everyone else used for the lobster, and the kit floss was the pink and white. And then I also stitched the narwhal, and I did the same thing that Amy tried to do, where I made the underneath like gray and the top sort of like a darker color with the little polka dots.
It looks so good.
And I used the same pink and white from the lobster for the doodads. And then I also stitched the sloth.
Mm.
And this was with Roxy Floss and DMC, and yeah, and that's all on one piece of fabric.
Perfect.
Making good use of it.
So
right?
this is a blue. I think this was also one of the ones that I got from Millions of Stitches. This like over dyed blue floss. So I've just put them facing all different ways on this piece. And I might still be able to fit one in the middle. If there's one that's just like a little bit smaller, because some of them are like 45 by 45, but some of them are like 39 by 39. So I think that might fit in there. But yeah. And that was the rest of my finishes.
That's a good group of quirky.
It is. I'm excited because the sloth just got called for me for August WIP Go, and I'm so excited to stitch it.
He was a lot of fun. It's a lot of stitches. Like they're,
Yeah, the border is good though.
It's really good. It's one of the bigger ones, but it's worth it.
So cute.
And that's it. That's everything I've worked on so far this year.
Okay, I have 2 projects left because apparently I can't count. So first is I'm currently working on for my Carolyn Manning round robin group, Danielle's pick, which is Night Before Christmas. So this is what it will look like when it is done. It's beautiful. It is bigger than the one that I picked, which is fine. It's we discussed our choices. But so this fabric, which I don't remember which, I don't know, but this red fabric that Danielle got for this is perfect. And then it's DMC's. And so I am gonna work it one color at a time. I did a couple colors to begin with to get enough things established that I could count from. And trust my counting. So now I'm putting in 3, 8, 6, 5, and then I think I have 7 colors left after that. I don't know, but I will work through it. But it is, I love these, right? They're full coverage, but you just get to do something a little bit different all the time. So I really like it. Yeah, and when I'm done, I will send it off to Michelle Main Moose picture, and she will get to do the next quadrant. I love it. And then the last WIP that I have to share is a new start this week with your friend of mine, Allie at Misfit Stitches, who is also the designer behind Light of the Moon Studios. And I got this pattern Drifting Dream as a kit as part of the ice and snow inspired die box, that mystery box I got from Kaylee at the sewing shop. And so Allie and I decided to start it together. So if you have the pattern and you want to join us, we are using Drifting Dream Sal as our hashtag. It's not a huge pattern, so it's not a big undertaking to add it to your rotation, in my opinion. So I'm using, this is the fabric that I got in the kit for it, but the fabric is a 20 count, so I do not need very much of it. So I just sort of lined it up on one side so that snowflake can be going into the darker, but I still get the lighter colors over here. Then so I mean, I got a pretty good start, I think, considering that I only worked on it the one day. I'll get back to it. And it's just with DMC white on there. Yeah, it looks good. My Allie needle minder, that is her logo that I love, obviously had to go on this project.
Mhm. That's gonna be really pretty on that fabric, the placement that you put it. That's cool.
It's, yeah, I'm really excited about it. Okay, that's everything that I've worked on this year, other than I had one gift that I didn't find the picture for, but I believe I showed it at the time, and then I have just some other secret things that nobody knows about yet. So yeah, over to you, Amy.
So many secrets.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 6 projects left that I've worked on, including 4 more mermaids. To no one's surprise, 4 more mermaids. So this is Mermaid of Atlantis, Mirabilia.
Mm.
She is beautiful too.
Mhm.
I have almost her whole tail done. Well, the tail part of the tail, not the fin part of the tail. I have a little bit of regrets about my color choice on the fabric, just because, I mean, I think she looks great on it, but one of the Karen water lilies that is in her tail is variegates from a green to almost this color of blue.
Mm.
So it kind of gets lost a little bit in it, which is my only regret. I love this color fabric. This is I think I got this on a Friday night fight night from Be Stitch Me. So it doesn't have a name. And I think I think it's a 32 count, but it's possibly a 36 count, which I may run into some problems with beads. When it comes to that, I may have to resource the beads as a smaller size, but I'm not too worried about that yet. But I do love her a lot. And this one is it's one of the ones that it seems like when I get her out to work on her, I can't put her away. And so I end up getting quite a bit done on it, which is good, because again, that's the point of the projects, right? To get them done. Then we have, this was my birthday start from last year, from 2023. This is Urduja, or maybe it was from this year. I don't know. From Bella Filipina. And I saw the colors of this on his Instagram and just another add to cart immediately. I love the colors in this, the coppers, the golds. And I chose this fabric from my stash, which those colors are going to look fantastic on. I did have some problems stitching on this right when I started her because it's a very tight weave fabric and it's dark. And I do a lot of my stitching in the evening. And so it was very hard for me to see. And I talked about it on my Instagram, and people were like, buy a magnifying light. And I was like, okay. And I did, and thank you to all those people, because I do use the magnifying light when I stitch on her, and she's perfect. Look at that face.
So
Oh, she's so pretty. He charts faces extremely well. Like,
yeah.
she's stunning. She has a lot of hair. I mean, look at her hair. It's big and it's bold and it's beautiful. So yeah, she'll be coming back out again for Siren September, because I love her so much. And then my biggest mermaid is I bought her from Gecko Rouge, but I think that the kit is no longer available on Gecko Rouge. But if you go to, the artwork is by Medusa Dollmaker, who I just love her artwork so much. If you go to her website, I believe that she now sells cross stitch kits of her own work. So I highly recommend her artist. She lives in, I believe lives in Spain, somewhere in Europe. I could be wrong about that. But I saw this first as a diamond painting, and I almost bought it as a diamond painting, but decided that I wanted to stitch it instead. I bought 18 count Ada, to go with the kit from Gecko Rouge, just to make it easy on myself. And she's going to be huge because that's not very much of it at all. It's like the very top left corner of it. It's so much confetti. I mean, if you look at those fish, it's the type of thing where you don't realize that you're stitching a fish until you put the last stitch in and sit back and you're like, oh, wow, that's a fish. Um, so much confetti. So it takes forever to get anywhere on this piece, but I really do enjoy working on it. I kind of have to be in the right mood to work on it. So she didn't get a whole lot of, or she hasn't gotten a whole lot of work, but if I'm going to finish her in my lifetime, I need to get booking on it. So she'll definitely get some good quality time in September as well, when Siren September happens and she comes back out.
You know, that confetti stitching is a pain in the butt, but the effect it has is so
Oh
good.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good, so worth it, so worth it. The last mermaid I have is from the Mermaids of the Seasons Sal, which is over now. It's all 4 of them have been released. This is a Bella Filipina and Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers mashup, I guess. So it's Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers fabric, and then Bella Filipina designs. So I finished the spring one last year, and then I decided to go ahead and start on the fall. I just pushed it on down. I have almost got her done. No, I don't. Who am I kidding? I still have her face and some of her hair to do, and then all of the beading to do on her before she's done. And then I'll move over for winter and summer go here. So quite a bit of work left to do on the whole piece, but relatively speaking, and I am doing all of borders and everything, having big regrets about that because that's a lot of stitching in the border. I've been watching Andrew, the runner stitcher lately, and I love the way he's doing it because he doesn't have all of these borders, but he's taken these little doodads in the corners, which I do like flipped them and put them in the middle right here. And I love how that's looking. It's really cool. So not enough for me to pick everything out and redo it, but I appreciate what he's doing with it because I do regret stitching these borders, but yeah, I think this will look really cool when it's all done.
So pretty.
So yeah,
And like,
I like the colors in her. She's really pretty.
but like you compare that to his full size ones and like the level of detail
Yeah.
is like the same, but they're smaller. How?
Right? Yeah. It's kind of insane. I
Mhm.
mean, their faces aren't, since they're
Yeah,
turned
like
away, they're not full faces, but they still have that detail in them that you really appreciate. And
so
yeah, and they're like heavily beaded as well, which I'm always a fan of that.
Yeah, it's
I,
gorgeous.
I love doing beading and I love the way it looks too. So that's exciting. And then my last fancy lady is not a mermaid. But it's Cathedral Woods Goddess.
oh, I need to start her so bad.
She's she's luscious. I was given this pattern generously by our friend Heike, Stone Cold Coffee Crafts. I gave her a mirror that I had finished, and so she generously gave me her Cathedral Woods Goddess. And I can't remember what fabric I'm doing this on. That's cool. It's a neutral. It's a linen.
That
I
works.
don't remember where it's from. I probably have it on my Instagram, but loving her so far. She's got lots of sparkly Kreinik in her. Lots of beads. I've heard that she's like one of the most beaded ones, and I'm looking forward to that because, like I said, I love beads. But definitely, but she's been a really easy stitch too because there's lots of kind of chunks of color on her that make it fun yet easier to stitch too. So I stitch all of my mirrors from paper patterns. So it is nice to have those big chunks where you're not like searching for colors and stuff. Like it's easier to when you have a digital pattern. But
Yeah.
and then my very last WIP, which is soon to be a finish, like maybe today, definitely by tomorrow, if not today, is Trans Pride Tapestry.
Mm.
There
It
it is.
looks so good.
Yeah, I love this. So this is 18 count Lavender Mist by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. DMC, except for she does have a little bit of Krynic in the buckle and in her horn as well is all Krynic. And then the unicorn itself is done in Etoile, the white Etoile, and I think she looks sparkly and beautiful. So I have a little bit of outlining left to do on this very flower in the very corner. And then just a little bit of fill-in left. She has less than 1,000 stitches left in her to do. So depending on how else the day goes, it may be a finish by tonight. But I'm so excited, and it's perfect timing because if you're not following Dee and Kari on Instagram, you should be, because they have been hinting at their next unicorn release, which I think is coming up very soon. So my philosophy is finish a unicorn, start two, right? Because I want to start their new one. I also want to do their lesbian pride tapestry and also Miriam's unicorn. Well, that would be finish one, start three.
Do it.
I could do that. Cross stitch your math. It works, right?
I'm not going to finish my Trans Pride Tapestry before I start Miriam's.
And that's okay too.
That's fun. So,
right?
Right? Like you're one step beyond me. So
yeah, I have plans for this one that I'm not going to share yet, but I think that hopefully Dean Kari will like the plan that I have for her, and I will be sharing it soon on my Instagram. So stay tuned. That's all.
hurrah. Okay. We did not film for 4 hours. So you're welcome, and I'm sorry, depending on your feelings about that. Some people really loved the super long episode. I love seeing all your projects, Amy.
It's fun to show them off with you guys too.
Yeah, we feel very
right. I do think I need some more mermaids.
Yes.
Fancy lady mermaids.
Yeah. And it's the same math as with the unicorns, right? If you finish one, start at least 2 more.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're doing it wrong.
Right. It makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any plans that they're wanting to share with people?
I'm gonna wait till our video for my plan.
You don't want to talk about,
unless you want to talk about our.
Oh, I have plans with you all.
Yeah. So, a while back, several of us purchased or talked about the fact that we all have this chart, and a little bit of idea sparked in terms of, well, stitching it on black is a lot of white on black, right? I mean, there's gray in there too, but a lot of white. And so the plan was sparked to do it on fabric that is inspired by the Aurora Borealis. And our friend Kaylee at the sewing shop dived right into the, do you think you could do a thing for us? I had this beautiful fabric. Amy doesn't have hers yet. Kaylee's been batching things out. She has her
so
piece picked, so it just has to make its way there. This fabric, so good. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to orient mine yet, but
Yeah, I was just thinking about mine because I think if
Um,
I do it this way, because then my trees would be down here,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
the lighter part of it, and then it's like the sky is going from like dark to light.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's what I think I should do.
But it's
Those
amazing.
are
Look
so
at
good.
that.
Yours has like
Um,
some more lighter spots. Mine's pretty
they're
uniform.
they're all a little different, just like every
Mm-hmm.
right?
True.
So I was not I was very on the fence about this Sal. I was definitely like, oh yeah, like it's nice pattern, like whatever. But I also am like, I've started so many things lately. I've started so many Sals lately that I'm not working on. Like I'm gonna be responsible. I'm not gonna jump into like every single thing that I want to do. And then I ordered some stuff from Kaylee just a separate order where I was like, I want some new fabric. I'm gonna order some stuff from Kaylee. And then this arrived with my order, and she wrote me a card basically saying, just in case you wanted to start the moon face couple, I've sent you some fabric. And I was like, well, twist my rubber arm. I guess I'll be joining this. As I told her, a slight breeze probably would have nudged me towards it. So this is a little bit more than a gentle nudge, I think. So
Thanks, Kaylee.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of us. Helen, Pam, Kaylee jumped in, Jesse, Michelle, Megan's with us now. I think that's our group at this point.
I think so, but I've heard that there's a couple of others too.
Yeah,
I don't know who they
we're
are,
we're
but
not an exclusive group.
oh
So if you
no,
have interest in stitching the moon phase bell pull, have I got a
Join us.
deal for you? Because Kaylee put into mine a second piece of fabric. So I have this beautiful, again, slightly different colors, fabric to gift away to one lucky viewer. So if you're interested, there will be our form down below, and fill it out, and we'll send the fabric. And maybe if there isn't a box there, I'll add a box there. And you can tell me if you have the pattern or not. If you don't have the pattern, I will get you the pattern as well so that you can join us on the moon phase bell pull stitch along. We don't have a start date yet because we are waiting for folks to get their fabric. So maybe we will close the draw. I'm trying to think in my mind about what the date's going to be, but because I don't want to wait until we film again at the end of August is where my on that. Maybe we will close the draw next Saturday, August 3rd. And so like enter by Saturday, August 3rd. I will pick a name on August 4th and get things in the mail to you, so that you have the fabric in a reasonable time to start. Probably sometime mid-August-ish. I don't know, we'll figure it out. You can join us. I understand that there might be other giveaways happening for more fabric. Word on the street. I don't have all the details, but I've heard rumors. So, and if you are interested in stitching and you do not win, you may join our stitch along at any time. This is not an exclusive club. And I'm sure that if you wanted Aurora Borealis fabric for this or anything else, Kaylee would be happy to indulge. Because that's Kaylee's an amazing human and we love her, and
yeah, she'll get you
likes dyeing fabric. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And she's kind of a genius at dyeing fabric.
Kind of?
Just kind of, yeah, like real genius.
Super genius dyeing fabric.
She accepted the challenge of dyeing Aurora Borealis fabric and like went above and beyond with it. And
yeah, and when I asked her,
stunning.
there was no questions. It was just like, yes, absolutely, and I'm gonna do it too. Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so that I think is the end. Thank you again, Amy, for joining us. I
Thank
suspect
you
we'll
so
be
much for
able
having me back.
to twist your arm to do this again in roughly
It was so fun.
6-ish months, less than 6 months, 5-ish months. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay. So
And we'll
Thank you.
see. We're gonna record. Megan just mentioned we're gonna do our end of August wrap up. So we'll have a July and August video coming out at the end of August. So we'll have another 2-monther special. So yeah, look forward to that. There'll be lots of haul in that one as well because I've had packages coming in over the last few weeks. So yeah,
well, that will offset my lack of haul because I've been
good. That's good. We like to balance it out.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Okay.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.